Good morning, my dear friend. As the first light of dawn gently breaks across the horizon and the world still holds its breath in the quiet hush of morning, I want to welcome you into this sacred space. The early hours carry a stillness like no other time. The birds have just begun their songs. The skies are painted in soft pastels, and the weight of the day has yet to press down on your shoulders. It is here, in this peaceful moment before the world fully awakens, that the soul finds its clearest voice. And it is here that I want to meet you heart to heart. Perhaps this morning finds you weary, not just physically tired, but soul deep exhausted. Maybe you have been carrying something heavy, grief that does not seem to loosen its grip, or fear that clings to you through the night. Perhaps it was a restless sleep interrupted by anxious thoughts, or maybe you are facing a silence that speaks too loudly, reminding you of things lost, dreams delayed, or questions still unanswered. There was once a woman who woke up just like you. She sat on the edge of her bed with her hands trembling slightly, staring at the floor because looking up felt too hard. Her husband had walked out months ago. Her job was hanging by a thread. Her prayers felt like they echoed into emptiness. She tried to be strong for her children, to smile at strangers in the grocery store, to post cheerful words online. But inside she was unraveling, not in a dramatic, explosive way, but in quiet, invisible pieces. She did not need a miracle to fix everything. She just needed to believe that she was not forgotten, that someone saw her, that her thoughts did not define her worth, and that her future was not sentenced by her pain. If you have ever felt like her, if you are feeling that way now, I want you to know you are not alone. The shadows in your mind do not mean your soul is lost. The battle you are facing internally is not a sign of weakness. In fact, it is proof that you are still fighting. And there is hope for you yet. This is not just another message. This is an invitation, not from me, but from the one who knows you better than you know yourself, the one who shaped your mind and hears every unspoken thought. He knows the nights when your chest is tight and your thoughts spiral. He knows when you pretend to be okay, because it is easier than explaining why you are not. And he knows exactly how to guide you back to peace. Today, you are about to step into a journey, not one of religious routine or hollow words, but a sacred conversation, a path of renewal, where the weight of negative thinking begins to lift and a new language of hope takes its place. It will not happen all at once, but the shift begins now in this moment of willingness, this breath of surrender, this early morning decision to let God speak where doubt once shouted. You see, prayer is not a last resort. It is not just what we do when nothing else works. Prayer is power. It realigns our hearts, retrains our minds, and reignites our faith. Through prayer, we remember who we are and whose we are. We gain clarity where confusion once lived. We receive strength when we have nothing left to give. Prayer does not ignore pain. It holds it gently while leading us toward healing. And healing begins the moment we open our hearts. So I invite you right here, right now, to breathe slowly. Let go of everything you carried into this morning and be fully present. You do not need to perform. You do not need to have perfect words. You only need to be open. If your heart has been longing for rest, if your mind has been craving peace, then you are exactly where you need to be. This is your space. This is your moment. This is your conversation with the one who never left. Let us begin. Dear Heavenly Father, this morning I come to you with a mind that feels clouded and heavy. Even before the day begins, I already feel the weight pressing down on me. My thoughts are scattered, like leaves blown by the wind in 1,000 directions. I try to focus, but something inside me feels disconnected. The quiet around me should bring peace. But instead, it echoes with noise I cannot silence. There is so much inside me that I do not know how to explain. It is not one single burden, but a slow collection of doubts, fears, and feelings I have never dared to name. I feel distant from you. Not because you have moved, but because my own thoughts have built a wall too thick to see through. I miss the days when it felt easy to trust, when my heart responded with belief instead of hesitation. But somewhere along the way, I began listening more to the fears in my head than the truth I once knew. And now I feel caught in between. I know you are there. I believe you are good, but this fog in my mind, this weight on my chest, it makes it hard to reach for you. And so I am here. Father, not because I feel strong, because I know I am not. I do not need a perfect prayer. I need your presence. I need you to meet me here in this gray, in-between place. I need you to lift the heaviness that has settled in the corners of my thoughts. Sometimes I wonder how my mind became so loud. I replay moments I wish I could erase. I worry about things that have not happened. I doubt myself in ways I cannot always admit. The smallest fears grow into giants when left unchecked. And yet I know deep down that these thoughts are not from you. You do not speak in shame or panic. You do not confuse. But Father, that clarity feels far from me right now. So I ask you, please, enter the places in my mind where I have shut the doors. Enter the rooms I have kept locked for too long. Shine light into the corners I have been too afraid to examine. Let your truth begin to sweep away the lies I have believed. Lies that say I am not enough. Lies that say nothing will ever change. Lies that tell me my past defines my future. Lies that sound like my own voice, but carry the fingerprints of fear. I do not want to live chained to my own thoughts. I do not want to walk through this day at the mercy of every whisper of doubt. I want to live awake. I want to see clearly again. I want to hear your voice above the noise. But to do that, I need you to help me untangle what is true from what only feels true. I need you to remind me that feelings are not always facts. I need you to show me that just because a thought enters my mind does not mean it belongs there. Teach me how to sort through the noise and hold on to what is good. I do not know how to do this alone. I was never meant to. I am asking for more than clarity. I am asking for healing. Because I know these thoughts are not just random. They are coming from wounds I have hidden, disappointments I never voiced, hurts I brushed aside because I did not want to seem weak. But they have been building up, Father, and now they speak louder than joy. I do not want to be led by pain anymore. I want to be led by peace. And I believe you are the only one who can give it to me. not just a moment of quiet, but a peace that settles deep and stays. So I begin here, not with answers, but with honesty. I give you my confusion. I give you my restless mind. I give you the silence that has felt empty and the thoughts that have felt overwhelming. I give you the inner war that no one sees. I give you the questions that do not have easy answers. I give you the numbness that masks itself as strength. I give you the fear that wears the face of control. I give you every moment where I said I was fine but was not. I give you all of me as I am, not fixed, not cleaned up, just real. Let this be the start of something new, a quiet turning, a shift, even if small. Let this moment open the door for you to move in ways I cannot yet imagine. I do not ask you to take away every hard thing. I ask you to help me think differently about them, to see them through the lens of grace, to face them with faith instead of dread, to remember that I am not alone in this fight, that you are not waiting for me at the finish line, but are walking with me through every messy step. Help me to believe that change is possible, not just outside of me, but within me. Help me to trust that this fog will not last forever. That clarity will come, that peace is not a fantasy, but a promise. That you are not impatient with me when I struggle, but gentle with my fragile thoughts. Thank you for being a father who does not demand perfection, but invites honesty, who does not condemn weakness, but meets it with compassion, who does not walk away when I am silent, but stays close until I speak. Today, I begin again, not because I feel ready, but because I know I cannot keep carrying this on my own. I want to see differently. I want to think with a renewed mind. I want my inner world to reflect truth, not fear. I want my thoughts to align with hope instead of defeat. I may not know the way forward yet, but I know where to begin, and that is here, with you, in the quiet light of this morning. Let your presence be my guide. Let your truth be my anchor. Let this be the day my mind starts to heal. Let this be the day the shadows begin to lift. God, in the quiet that follows honesty, I start to notice just how loud the lies have become. Now that I have laid my confusion before you, the silence inside does not feel empty. It feels like a space being cleared. But into that space, old voices try to return. They do not shout, but whisper. Familiar phrases, soft and subtle, so close to the truth that they almost feel like mine. I begin to realize how deeply some thoughts have rooted themselves. They wear the sound of my own voice, but they carry shame instead of grace, fear instead of wisdom. I know now they were never from you. Father, help me see clearly the things I have accepted as truth that never belonged to me. I think of all the times I have said to myself, I am not good enough. I am too broken. I always mess things up. No one really sees me. No one would stay. I hear these phrases so often I have stopped questioning them. They have become the background noise of my days, the filter through which I see everything. But now, with you, I pause. I hold each of them up to the light of who you are. And suddenly, they do not stand so strong. They tremble in the presence of your truth. There is a sorrow in recognizing how long I have carried these thoughts without knowing they were chains. And there is also a strange comfort in knowing that you were never the one who placed them there. You have never called me worthless. You have never spoken through guilt or comparison. Those voices came from wounds, from disappointments, from the enemy who knows just how to twist pain into identity. But you, Lord, are the untwisting force. You speak in ways that unravel lies with patience and kindness, and I need that now. I need you to help me untangle what has grown so tangled inside me. I think about the memories that echo most, the failures that replay without asking, the moments I was told I was not enough, and the silence that followed when I needed comfort. These memories do not shout. They hum, low and persistent, humming doubt beneath every new beginning. They tell me not to hope too much, not to trust too far, not to try again. And somewhere along the way, I started listening. I let those echoes become my narration. But they are not narrators. They are saboteurs. They do not guide me toward healing. They pull me back into shadows. So I bring them into the light now, one by one. God, I need you to help me name what I have been too afraid to speak. The thought that I will always be abandoned, the fear that I am too much and not enough all at once, the belief that joy is temporary and pain is permanent. These are not passing thoughts. They have formed habits in my heart, but I want to break those habits. I want to replace them with the rhythm of grace. I want your voice to be the loudest sound in me, not just in moments of worship, but in the quiet moments of doubt. I want your truth to rise whenever the lies try to take their place again. Show me how to recognize the difference. Teach me the sound of your voice so clearly that anything else feels foreign. Let my spirit become familiar with your peace and allergic to fear. Let the echoes grow quieter with every breath I take in your presence. Remind me that I do not have to believe everything I think. Remind me that just because a thought comes does not mean it gets to stay. Help me take those thoughts captive, not just ignore them, but confront them with what is real, with what is written, with what you have already declared about me. I know that thoughts shape how I live. I see now how mine have shaped my reactions, my choices, even my relationships. I want to change the way I respond to life, not with defensiveness or withdrawal, but with grounded peace. But to do that, I need you to help me rebuild from within. Start by softening what has grown hard. Start by quieting what has grown loud. Start by giving me courage to question the thoughts I have lived with for too long. There is something painful but beautiful about waking up to what has been harming me. Painful because I wish I had known sooner. Beautiful because it means something new can begin. And that beginning starts with awareness, with calling out the false narratives and replacing them with the story you are writing. A story where I am not defined by wounds but by redemption. A story where weakness does not disqualify but becomes the very place you show up in power. A story where the past may shape me, but it does not own me. Lord, help me make space for that story today. When I catch myself thinking I cannot handle what is ahead, remind me I am not alone. When I start to brace for disappointment before it comes, Remind me that hope is not naive when is placed in you. When I shrink back because I assume rejection, remind me that I am already accepted, not because I have proven my worth, but because you have declared it. Let these reminders interrupt the old pattern. Let these truths become louder than the doubts that echo. I want to walk through this day without dragging the weight of old thoughts behind me. I want to breathe without holding my breath, waiting for something to go wrong. I want to laugh without hearing a voice say, "It won last." I want to believe again, not just in you, but in what you believe about me, that I am worth saving, worth redeeming, worth reshaping. Even in my lowest moments, you never gave up on me. Even when my mind felt lost, you stayed. And for that, I thank you with all that I am, even in this still fragile state. I thank you. Let today be a day of unlearning the lies and learning again how to live in truth. Let me move forward not from fear, but from faith. Let me speak not from wounds, but from wisdom. And when the echoes return, as they often do, let them find no place to settle. Let them meet a mind guarded by peace, a spirit filled with truth, and a heart that has decided to believe in something better, in something eternal, in you, Lord. Now that the lies have been named, now that the noise has started to fade, what I feel most is not clarity, it is the aching quiet that comes when the shouting stops. Like standing in the middle of a field after the storm has passed. There is stillness, but the ground is soaked, the air thick with what remains. That is where I am right now, not healed yet, not whole yet, but emptied of the chaos enough to feel the silence inside. And in that silence, a cry begins to rise, not loud, not desperate, but real. A cry I have been holding in for far too long. This cry does not always have words. Sometimes it is just a sigh that escapes without permission. Sometimes it is a lump in the throat that I try to swallow down. Sometimes it is a glance upward in the dark with no sentence formed. Only the hope that maybe you are watching. It is the cry of a soul that does not want to give up, but does not know how to move forward. It is the cry of someone who has smiled through too much, who has pushed past pain because others needed them strong. And now that the pretending has paused, the H has found its voice. I do not know how long it has been waiting to be heard, but I know you hear it now. Father, I do not need you to explain everything. I am not asking for a reason for every tear or a map of what comes next. What I need is the comfort of knowing you are near, that when I cry without sound, you still listen, that when my words fail, your presence speaks. I have spent so much time trying to be okay, trying to appear put together, collected, fine. But now I realize that the most honest thing I can bring you is this cry. This fragile, trembling offering of what I truly feel beneath the surface. Because pretending is exhausting, and I do not want to waste another day trying to impress a God who already sees everything. You have always known the cries, never spoke, the ones I silenced because I thought they were too small or too weak or too messy to bring before you. But I am learning now that you are not looking for polished prayers. You are looking for open hearts, for real surrender, for moments like this, when I finally stop running and let the weight of what I have carried rest at your feet. So I bring it all here, the fears I have never voiced, the grief that surprises me in quiet moments, the loneliness I feel even in a crowded room, the guilt I carry for not being stronger, the questions I have been afraid to ask, every unspoken H, every silent scream. I place them before you now. There is a kind of healing that begins when we let the pain rise instead of pushing it down. I feel that happening now, not in some dramatic transformation, but in a gentle unfolding, like a wound being unwrapped, slow and tender, exposed not to hurt but to heal. I do not want to keep hiding these wounds. I want them touched by your hands, not to be ignored but to be mended. I believe you are the God who meets us not just on mountaintops, but in the depths, in the places we do not talk about, in the parts of our story we would rather skip. I believe you kneel low to find us when we are too weak to climb, that you draw close when the cry is too deep for language. Lord, I need you to meet me here, not in who I hope to become, but in who I am today, in the places where I still feel broken, in the corners of my heart where disappointment lingers, like dust in the light. You do not require strength before you arrive. You bring strength with you. You do not demand understanding before you draw near. You bring peace in the middle of confusion. That is what I need now. Not answers. Just you. Just your closeness. Just the assurance that I have not been forgotten in my sorrow. Sometimes I wonder how many others walk around with silent cries. People I pass every day, carrying invisible grief, hiding behind tired eyes. I think of the single mother quietly collapsing behind the bathroom door after holding it together all day. The elderly man who watches the phone and pretends he does not mind when it never rings. The teenager scrolling through perfect lives while questioning their own worth. The friend who always says they are fine but changes the subject too quickly. God, we are surrounded by silent cries, hidden in plain sight. Let me never again assume that someone's smile means they are not hurting. Let my own pain birth compassion, not bitterness. Let my awareness of sorrow deepen my empathy, not harden my heart. I do not want to become numb. I want to remain soft, even if it means I feel more. I want to be someone who recognizes the sound of a cry, even when it is silent. Someone who pauses long enough to ask if someone is really okay. Someone who makes space for others to fall apart, without judgment or fear. And I want to be that for myself, too. To stop expecting perfection, to allow myself to unravel when I need to let grief move through me instead of getting stuck inside. But before I can hold space for anyone else, I need you to hold space for me. In this early hour, in this sacred stillness, I invite you into the parts of me that I have tried to handle on my own, into the memories that still sting, into the disappointments I have stopped talking about, into the dreams I have buried because they hurt too much to hope for, into the H I wake up with and the heaviness I carry into the night. Be my refuge, not only from the world, but from my own mind when it turns against me. Let me rest in the truth that you do not grow tired of my tears, that my sadness is not too much for you. You are not uncomfortable with emotion. You are not quick to fix what needs to be felt. You are patient with pain. You walk slowly through sorrow, not rushing past it but sitting in it with me. Thank you for being a God who listens when I have nothing left to say. Thank you for seeing what I hide, for touching what I think is untouchable, for holding me when I can no longer hold myself together. This cry may be quiet, but it is honest. And I believe that is enough. I believe you catch every tear before it falls. I believe you gather the pieces I have dropped along the way. I believe you are not waiting for me to be cheerful before you call me close. You are here now, in this holy H, in this raw and real moment. And maybe, just maybe, this cry that once felt like weakness is the very thing that is drawing me closer to you. Maybe the breaking is the beginning. Maybe silence has a voice. Maybe what I am feeling is not the end, but the invitation to something deeper, to something sacred, to something new. Father, in the quiet that followed my silent cry, something within me began to shift. Not loud, not dramatic, just a slow loosening, like tight knots coming undone after being pulled for too long. I did not expect it, but maybe this is how transformation begins, not with clarity, but with release. I can feel it now, the H of holding on for too long, holding on to my own strength, my own plans, my own way of fixing what I did not fully understand. And as that weight begins to lift, what I feel most is this strange mixture of relief and grief. Relief that I no longer have to pretend to be okay. Grief that I waited so long to let go. Lord, I realize now how often I have tried to carry myself through seasons. I was never meant to walk alone. I pushed forward when I should have paused. I smiled when I needed to break. I reasoned my way through pain instead of surrendering it. I told myself I could manage it, contain it, handle it, all in the name of being strong. But somewhere in the middle of all that effort, I became weary, not just in my body, but in my soul, like someone who has been walking through dry land, looking for water that keeps slipping through their fingers. I have been thirsty for peace, but trying to pour it from empty hands. Now I see that true strength is not in holding it all together, but in knowing when to stop trying so hard, in saying I cannot do this by myself, in letting the soul breathe by loosening its grip. I do not want to keep tightening my fists around things I was never meant to control. I want to open my hands, even if they tremble. I want to offer up what I have hoarded in fear, my expectations, my pride, my timelines, my defenses, and place them at your feet, not with demands, but with trust. Not because I have it figured out, but because I believe you already have. This is the turning, Lord, the quiet decision to stop depending on myself as the source. I have realized that relying on my own understanding has only led me in circles. I have built plans on fragile ground and expected them to hold. I have pushed through spiritual exhaustion as if it were just another task on my list. I have measured my worth by productivity, by how much I can bear without breaking. And now, standing here, I see the cracks, not as failures, but as the beginning of surrender, the beginning of something holy. You never asked me to be my own savior. You never asked me to fix everything before coming to you. That pressure I put on myself, and I am tired of it. I want to trade self-reliance for rest. I want to live as someone who believes you are not just watching over me, but walking with me, carrying what I can see, holding what I drop, strengthening what has grown weak. Let this be the day I stop trying to prove I am enough and start believing that I am already loved. I confess, Lord, that pride has whispered lies in my ears, that asking for help is weakness, that surrender means failure. But I am beginning to see how pride isolates and grace draws near. Pride builds walls around pain. Grace opens the windows to let light in. Pride keeps secrets. Grace tells the truth. Pride hides the tears. Grace catches them. I do not want to live guarded anymore. I want to be real, even if it means being raw. I want to come to you not just in strength, but in weakness, not just with praise, but with pain, because I believe you meet me in both. Let this be the start of holy dependence, not lazy surrender, but active trust, the kind of surrender that gets up in the morning and says, I will not carry this alone, the kind that faces the unknown with open hands, the kind that stops striving to earn what has already been given, the kind that rests not because the storm is over, but because you are in the boat. God, teach me what it means to lean, not just occasionally, but daily. To start the day not with a checklist, but with a posture of reliance. To move through my hours with the awareness that I am not alone, that every step I take is accompanied, that every breath I draw is a gift. Let surrender become my rhythm, not my last resort. Let it be the way I start, not the place I collapse. Let it be my new strength. There are still things I wish I could change, still burdens I do not fully understand, still questions without answers. But in this moment, I release them to you, not because they do not matter, but because they are too heavy for me alone. I place into your hands the people I love, but cannot fix, the dreams I hold but cannot force into reality, the fears I feel but cannot predict, the decisions I face but cannot control. I give you the outcomes. I give you the process. I give you the timing. Let this act of surrender soften what has been hardened by disappointment. Let it break the cycle of control that leads to frustration. Let it quiet the voice that says I must do more, be more, achieve more. Replace that voice with your whisper of grace, that I am seen, that I am known, that I am safe in surrender. Father, if there is one thing I want to remember from this moment, it is that I was never meant to do life without you. That surrender is not the end of effort, but the beginning of rest. That grace does not require perfection, it only asks for space. So I make space now. I clear out the clutter of pride. I pull down the false strength. I let go of the pressure to always know what comes next. I create room for you to fill what I have been trying to fill on my own. Thank you for being the God who receives. Surrender not with scolding, but with welcome. Thank you for being patient while I tried to do it all. Thank you for not walking away when I got it wrong. Thank you for waiting, not with anger, but with open arms. Let my soul settle into that truth. Let this turning not be a one-time prayer, but the start of a new way of living, of trusting, of breathing. Let me wake tomorrow with the same posture. Let this be the way I walk, leaning, resting, trusting, not because I am strong, but because I am finally learning how to let you be. Father, something is different today. It is not dramatic or loud, but after surrendering what I thought I had to carry, after laying down what I could no longer fix or hold together, I woke to a subtle change. Maybe it is in the way the light touches the edge of the window, or the quiet peace that lingered a little longer than usual when I opened my eyes. I do not quite have the words for it yet, but I know this feeling. It is like standing in a room you thought was sealed shut and suddenly realizing there is a crack in the wall, and through it, light is pouring in, just a sliver, but enough to remind you that hope has not left. God, I did not know how much I needed this glimpse. After all the heaviness, after the breaking, after the honesty I dared to give you, it is not a solution I feel. It is not a fixed situation or a finished healing. It is just light, soft, almost shy, but there, present, breaking through the places I thought would always remain dark. And I know that light is from you. I know it is not something I created. It came after the letting go, after the surrender, not as a reward, but as a promise. There is something sacred about that kind of light, the kind that finds its way in through cracks. It does not need wide open spaces. It does not demand perfection or performance. It just looks for the smallest opening. And that gives me comfort, Lord, because I do not have it all figured out. I am still learning how to think differently, how to trust more fully, how to rest instead of worry. But even in this unfinished place, you come, you find the cracks, you shine through. It reminds me that I do not need to be perfect to experience your presence. I just need to be honest, to stay open, to keep showing up, even when I feel unsure. That is what I want to do today. I want to lean into this light, not to explain it or earn it, but to receive it. Let it warm the cold places in me. Let it remind me that you are not far off, waiting for me to improve. You are right here, stepping into the space I cleared for you. And even when the darkness feels close, even when the past tries to call me back, I will look for that light. I will remember that it is stronger than what I fear. There is relief in knowing that change does not have to be immediate to be real. That transformation can begin in small ways. That healing often starts in whispers, not declarations. Father, help me trust these beginnings. Help me celebrate the progress that cannot be measured by outcomes, but only by peace. Remind me that just because I still feel tired does not mean I have not grown. That just because I still hear the echoes does not mean they are winning. That just because I have stumbled again does not mean I am back where I started. I feel you reminding me that you do not rush the process. That your work is deep, not surface level. That your ways are gentle, not forced. I think I have always been afraid of slow healing. I wanted fast answers, clean fixes, instant clarity. But I am beginning to understand that what grows slowly often grows stronger. And I want to be strong not in the way the world defines it, but in the way that lasts, in the way that bends but does not break, in the way that trusts even without seeing the full picture. So let your light keep shining, even if it is just through the smallest cracks. Let it reach the parts of me I still try to hide. Let it reveal what needs healing and renew what I thought was lost. Let it be the light that reminds me I am not forgotten, that you have not passed me by, that you are working, even when I feel stalled, that you are speaking, even when I hear nothing loud, that you are near, even when I feel far. God, I want to live with eyes that look for the light, not just when everything is bright, but especially when the shadows stretch long. I want to be someone who notices the small signs of your presence, the kind glance from a stranger, the verse that feels like it was written just for me, the unexpected moment of stillness that settles over a busy day. Help me not miss these gifts. Help me collect them like seeds, because I know that in time, they grow into deeper faith, into unshakable peace. Today, even if nothing around me visibly changes, I choose to believe that something inside me already has. That by bringing my honest self to you, I have made space for healing to begin. That the cracks are not signs of failure, but signs of invitation. That the very places where I broke are the places where your light now enters. I want to believe that every step toward you matters, even the small ones, even the ones that feel unsure, even the ones made with trembling hands. Lord, let that belief take root. Let it become stronger than the fear of falling back. Let it quiet the voice that says, I am not changing fast enough. Let it speak louder than the doubt that tries to drag me down. Let this light not the light of answers, but the light of her presence be what I return to again and again. And if today I feel the shadows closing in again, if the fog of confusion or worry starts to rise, remind me of this moment. Remind me of this light, the one I did not create but still received, the one that slipped through not because I was whole, but because I finally opened up, the one that shines even when I forget to look for it. This is what I hold on to, not perfection, not certainty, but the promise of presence, the quiet knowing that even in the middle of an unfinished story, you are already here, you are already working, and your light gentle, steady, unwavering is always enough to begin again. Father, as the light begins to settle inside me, I realize it does not arrive without resistance. The moment hope appears, something else stirs as well. Old habits of thinking rise quietly, not as chaos, but as familiarity. It feels almost natural for my mind to return to what it has always known. Doubt tries to stand where trust is forming. Worry tests the edges of peace. I see now that this inner place is not neutral ground. It is a gate, and whatever passes through it shapes the direction of my day, my words, my choices, my life. God, I understand now that light alone is not enough if I do not guard what enters. I cannot leave this gate unprotected. Too many thoughts have walked in unchallenged for too long. Thoughts that looked reasonable but drained my strength. Thoughts that sounded cautious but were rooted in fear. thoughts that claimed to protect me but slowly imprisoned me. I did not notice when they entered. I only noticed the heaviness they left behind. And today, with clearer eyes, I do not want to repeat that pattern. Lord, stand with me at this gate. Teach me how to watch, how to discern, how to pause before allowing every idea to settle in my heart. I am learning that not every thought deserves a home. Some thoughts knock with urgency, demanding attention. Others arrive quietly, pretending to belong. Help me recognize the difference. Help me slow down enough to ask where a thought comes from and where it is leading me. If it leads to fear, I do not want it. If it leads to shame, I do not need it. If it pulls me away from peace, I refuse it. There is a tension here. Father, part of me wants to keep everything familiar, even if it hurts. Familiar pain feels safer than unknown healing. Familiar patterns feel easier than intentional change. But I know that if I leave this gate unattended, the same old thoughts will keep returning, reshaping my days in ways I no longer want. I want something new. I want a mind that reflects truth, not habit. I want an inner world that feels protected, not constantly invaded. I see now that guarding my thoughts is not about control, but about care. Just as I would protect something precious from harm, I must protect this space within me. My heart was not designed to be a battlefield with no boundaries. It was designed to be a place where your peace can dwell. And peace requires intention. It requires courage to say no. It requires awareness to recognize when a thought is stealing more than it gives. I am learning that this kind of guarding is an act of love toward myself and trust toward you, God. I admit that this feels uncomfortable. Challenging my thoughts requires effort. It means I can no longer drift through my day on autopilot. It means I must pay attention to what I allow to stay. But I do not want to live at the mercy of every passing fear. I do not want my emotions ruled by every memory that surfaces. I want to choose what shapes me. I want to stand at this gate with you and decide what enters and what does not. There will be moments today when I forget, moments when old thoughts slip in before I notice, when worry begins to build without warning, when my mind starts running ahead, imagining outcomes that have not happened. In those moments, remind me gently, not with accusation, but with awareness. Remind me that I can stop, that I can breathe, that I can step back and ask if this thought aligns with truth. If it does not, give me the strength to release it, not to argue with it endlessly, but to let it pass without power. Lord, help me replace what I reject. An empty gate invites return. So fill my mind with what is steady, with thoughts of gratitude, with reminders of your faithfulness, with memories of moments when you carried me through what I thought I could not survive. Let truth become familiar. Let peace feel normal. Let trust feel safe. Over time, let these become the thoughts that arrive first. I am beginning to see that this battle is not loud. It is daily. It is quiet. It is decided in small moments that seem insignificant, but are not. Each thought I question, each fear I refuse to nurture, each truth I choose to hold on to. These are victories that shape my inner life, and though they may feel small, they matter deeply. Father, I do not ask for a mind that never struggles. I ask for a heart that knows where to turn when it does. A heart that recognizes the gate and stands guard with wisdom. A heart that learns to rest without becoming careless. Walk with me in this practice. Teach me patience with myself as I learn. Teach me consistency without harshness. Let this guarding become natural, not forced, a rhythm of awareness, not anxiety. As this day unfolds, let me remember that I am not powerless against my thoughts. I am not trapped by old patterns. I am learning to stand watch with you, and with each moment of awareness, each quiet decision to choose truth over fear, the gate becomes stronger, peace becomes more familiar, and my mind begins to reflect the life you are building within me. Father, now that I have stood with you at the gate of my mind, learning to guard the thoughts I allow to enter, I am beginning to see the importance of not only resisting what feels wrong, but also naming what has already settled inside. There are beliefs I have carried for years quiet, subtle things that have shaped the way I see myself, others, and even you. They are not always loud or cruel. In fact, most of them arrived dressed in reason. They spoke with familiarity, and because I never stopped to question them, I let them stay. But now, in this clearer space you have helped me create, I see them for what they are, lies. God, I do not use that word lightly. It is hard to admit that something I have believed for so long could be false. But the fruit they have borne: shame, fear, doubt, insecurity tells me the truth. These were never harmless thoughts. They were seeds planted by pain, watered by repetition, and nurtured in silence. And now they have grown roots, shaping how I move through the world, how I love, how I trust, how I speak to myself. I cannot leave them unnamed any longer. So I ask you to help me speak them aloud, not to empower them, but to expose them. I need to shine your light on what I have allowed to grow in the dark. Not every lie is obvious. Some sound noble, some sound safe. But the more I examine them with you, the more I feel the shift in my spirit. I start to ask questions I never asked before. Who told me this was true? What is this thought trying to protect me from? Does it align with your heart for me? And when the answers reveal a fracture, I bring it to you. Father, here is one. I have believed that I am only valuable when I am useful, that my worth is tied to how much I produce, how well I perform, how consistent I can be. This belief has robbed me of rest. It has made me afraid of slowing down, of disappointing others, of being still. It whispers that if I stop, I will be forgotten. But your truth says I am loved because I am yours, not because of what I do. You delighted in me before I ever lifted a hand to serve. You called me by name, not by achievement. Here is another. I have believed that I must protect myself from being hurt again by expecting the worst, that pessimism is wisdom and hope is naive. This belief has closed my heart to joy. It has made me suspicious of good things, always looking for the catch. It has kept me braced for pain, even when peace is present. But your truth says perfect love casts out fear, not invites it to stay. Your truth says hope does not disappoint when it is placed in you, not in outcomes. God, I have believed I am too broken to be used, that my past disqualifies me from purpose, that others are more capable, more whole, more called. This lie has made me shrink back when you were calling me forward. It has kept me silent when you placed words in my mouth. It has made me hide when you were inviting me into the light, but your truth says you are close to the brokenhearted. Your truth says you use the weak to display your strength. Your truth says my scars are not shameful, they are stories of your faithfulness. I have believed that I must be strong for everyone else, even when I am falling apart. That needing help is failure. That being vulnerable is dangerous. This lie has made me isolate. It has made me pretend. It has made me push away support and suffer in silence. But you say that in my weakness, your power is made perfect. You say I was never meant to carry everything alone. You say community is not weakness, but design. Lord, these are just a few. There are others. I know, some too deep for me to reach on my own. But I trust that as I continue walking with you, you will help me find them, one by one, not to condemn, but to heal. I do not bring these beliefs into the light to shame myself. I bring them because I am ready to trade them for truth. I am ready to let go of what has kept me small. I am ready to think differently, to live differently, to speak differently. Teach me to recognize the voice of a lie. Let it feel foreign to me. Let it scratch against my soul instead of blending in. Let it trigger something within that says, this is not what God says about me. And in those moments, give me the courage to reject it, to not entertain it, to not rehearse it in my mind. Let me speak truth over it instead. Let me replace every false word with the words you have spoken. I want my inner world to reflect your reality. I want my mind to be a place of agreement with heaven. I want my thoughts to build what you are building, not tear down what you are trying to restore. Help me renew my mind, not just occasionally, but daily. Help me be consistent in catching what does not belong and planting what does. I do not want to leave this work for crisis moments. I want to do it in the ordinary, in the quiet, in the spaces where no one else sees. Because that is where lies lose their power, when they are not fed in secret. God, let your truth become the loudest voice I hear. Let it echo louder than my past, louder than my fears, louder than my shame. Let it be the voice I recognize without hesitation. And if ever I forget, if ever I start to slip back into old thinking, pull me close again, whisper truth gently, firmly, until I remember who I am, until I remember what you have said, until I remember that every lie has an expiration date when it comes face to face with you. Thank you for not rushing me through this process. Thank you for your patience as I unlearn what has taken years to believe. Thank you for standing with me in the middle of the mess, not waiting on the other side of healing. Let this naming be an act of reclaiming. Let every word I speak in truth today become a stone in the foundation you are building inside me. A foundation not made of fear or false identity, but of grace, strength, and light. Father, now that I have begun to name the lies that once held power over my thoughts, I feel something shifting inside me. Not just the release that comes from truth revealed, but the stirring of courage as I realize I am not defenseless in this battle. I have spent years responding to thoughts as if I had no choice but to listen. I have let fear make its case and shame write the script. But now I see it clearly. I am not powerless, and I am not alone. You have given me a weapon not forged in human strength, but drawn from your heart. Your word is not just comfort, it is my defense. It is not just wisdom, it is my sword. God, I do not want to only recognize what is false, I want to replace it with what is true. I want to speak truth, not just think it. I want to declare it until the ground beneath my fear begins to tremble. Let me be someone who does not just read your promises, but wields them. Let my mouth become a place where lies are dismantled and heaven is declared. I do not need eloquence. I do not need volume. I just need faith to speak what you have already spoken. So when fear whispers, I will answer with, you have not given me a spirit of fear, but of power and love and a sound mind. When shame tries to settle in again, I will say there is now no condemnation for those who are in Christ Jesus. When doubt clouds my purpose, I will proclaim you began a good work in me, and you will be faithful to complete it. These are not just words on a page, they are fire in my bones, breath in my lungs, light in the dark. They are not just encouragement, they are survival. They are truth, and truth is what sets me free. Lord, help me remember that your word is not distant or abstract. It is alive. It is near. It is sharper than anything I face. It cuts through confusion. It slices lies at the root. It exposes what needs to be healed and defends what is already whole. I need that kind of power, not to hurt, but to heal, not to attack others, but to protect the peace you have planted in me. Let me be skilled in using it. Let me know where to find it in moments of weakness. Let it become my first response, not my last resort. I confess, there have been times when I have turned to everything else before turning to your word. I have searched for answers in people, in comfort, in distraction, but none of it lasts. None of it pierces deep enough to bring real change. Only your truth does that. Only your voice reaches the parts of me that no one else can touch. So draw me back again and again to what is written, not out of routine, but out of hunger. Let my spirit crave what my soul was made for, your voice, your presence, your truth spoken over me and through me. Sometimes I do not know what to say. Sometimes I feel too weak to fight. But even then, you have already gone before me. The Word was with you in the beginning, and the Word is with me now. I am not fighting unarmed. Even when my own words fail, I can borrow yours. I can whisper the scriptures in the quiet of the morning, or in the heat of the battle. I can speak them out loud when my thoughts rebel. I can write them on mirrors, on walls, on the doors of my heart. I can carry them with me into every conversation, every decision, every moment of doubt. Let this become my pattern. When fear rises, I speak peace. When lies creep in, I speak truth. When confusion comes, I speak clarity. When the enemy accuses, I speak what you have declared, not with arrogance, but with confidence, not with pride. but with boldness rooted in love. Let me speak as someone who knows that light has already won, that I am not fighting for victory but from it, that your word is not something to admire from a distance, but to carry into the trenches of everyday life. I ask you to train me in this, to build in me a habit of returning to the word before I react. Let it shape my language, filter my thoughts, and reset my perspective. Let it be the first thing I reach for when I wake, and the last thing I rest in before I sleep. Let it be the echo in my mind when doubt tries to rise. Let it be the weapon I reach for when anxiety knocks at the door. Father, I believe that your word still changes things, that when it is spoken, it does not return empty, that it cuts through the atmosphere, realigns the spirit, and silences the noise. So teach me to speak it not just over myself, but over others, over my family, over my friendships, over the places in my life that still feel fragile, over the future that sometimes feels uncertain. Let my mouth become a channel of truth, not just for my sake, but for the sake of those around me. Let me be someone who carries the sword with reverence, not recklessness. I do not want to just survive my thoughts. I want to reshape them. I want to participate in the transformation you promised when you said, I could be renewed by the changing of my mind. And I know that change comes from immersion in truth. So baptize my thoughts in scripture, wash my perspective in promises, saturate my memory with mercy, fill the empty spaces in my mind with verses that remind me who you are and who I am because of you. Let every lie I once believed now bow to the authority of your word. Let every stronghold built in silence be torn down by the sound of truth spoken aloud. Let every fear that once found refuge in my mind be driven out by the brightness of your promises. And let the echo that remains be the sound of your word, taking root in me alive, active, and unstoppable. God, thank you for giving me more than comfort. You have given me a weapon. You have given me language when I had none. You have given me truth when everything around me was uncertain. I will carry it. I will speak it. I will live it. And I will return to it again and again, until it becomes not just a defense, but a dwelling place, until the battle no longer intimidates me, because I know the sword I hold is not of my own making, but forged by the one who has already overcome. Father, after learning to speak your truth aloud and carry your word as my defense, I notice something else happening within me. The battle does not vanish, but the volume changes. The noise that once filled every corner of my mind begins to soften. It is as if the shouting grows tired when it is no longer obeyed. There is space now. Not emptiness, but room to breathe. And in that room, I realize how rarely I have allowed myself to be still, how often my thoughts rush ahead, rehearse outcomes, replay conversations, predict failures, all without pause. I have lived as if constant motion were necessary for survival. But now you invite me into something different. Lord, stillness feels unfamiliar to me. When the noise quiets, I am tempted to fill it again. I reach for distractions, for worries, for mental lists, because silence can feel vulnerable. In silence, I cannot hide behind business. In stillness, I must face what remains, but I sense that you are not asking me to perform or analyze. You are inviting me to rest, not sleep, but rest of the mind, rest from striving, rest from explaining myself to an invisible jury, rest from defending wounds that you are already healing. God, teach me how to be still without fear. Teach me how to sit in your presence without rushing to fix or control. I am learning that peace does not arrive through effort, but through surrender. It does not demand answers. It offers assurance. It does not remove every question, but it quiets the urgency to resolve them all at once. Let this stillness become a place where I meet you, not a space I avoid. Let it feel safe. Let it feel sacred. As the noise fades, I begin to notice how much it once governed me. Anxiety disguised itself as responsibility. Overthinking pretended to be preparation. Worry wore the mask of care. I thought if I stayed alert enough, nothing would catch me off guard. But all it did was exhaust me. It scattered my attention and stole my joy. Now, in this quieter place, I see that peace was never found in constant vigilance. It is found in trust. Trust that you are aware of what I cannot foresee. Trust that you are active even when I am still. Father, I bring you the racing thoughts that still try to return. The sudden worries that surface without warning. The mental loops that replay themselves late at night or early in the morning. Instead of wrestling them, I place them before you. I choose not to chase every thought that passes by. I choose not to give every fear my attention. I let them come and go like clouds across the sky, while my focus remains on you. You are steady when my mind is not. You are calm when I feel unsettled. You are present even when I feel distant. I am beginning to understand that stillness is not absence. It is awareness. Awareness that you are here. Awareness that I am held. Awareness that I do not need to fill every moment with words or plans or worries. In this quiet, I sense your nearness in ways that noise never allowed. Not through dramatic signs, but through a deep sense of being seen, known, accepted. There is comfort in knowing that I do not have to impress you. I do not have to prove my faith by constant activity. Sometimes faith looks like resting in what you have already said. Lord, let this quiet shape how I move through the rest of this day. When the world demands speed, remind me to slow down inside. When pressure builds, remind me to breathe. When voices around me grow loud, remind me that your voice is gentle and steady. Let me carry this stillness with me into conversations, decisions, and challenges, not as withdrawal, but as grounding. Let it keep me from reacting out of fear or haste. Let it guide me toward responses shaped by wisdom and grace. There is something healing about this calm. It does not erase pain, but it holds it gently. It does not deny difficulty, but it keeps it from ruling my thoughts. I feel my shoulders relax, my breath deepen, my mind unclench. These are small signs, but they matter. They tell me that peace is not a distant promise. It is a present gift, one that grows stronger the more I return to it, one that becomes familiar the more I choose it. God, I know the noise will try to return. Life will still bring demands, interruptions, and uncertainty. But now I know where to come back to. I know how to quiet my heart before you. I know that I can pause even in the middle of chaos. I know that stillness is not weakness. It is strength rooted in trust. It is the confidence that I do not have to control everything to be safe. Let my inner world become a place where peace resides, not just visits. Let this calm be the foundation beneath my thoughts. Let it guard me from unnecessary fear and restless striving. And when my mind begins to wander again, gently draw me back to this quiet, back to this awareness, back to the truth that you are God and I am not. And that is not a loss, it is relief. Father, the quiet you have invited me into has begun to change me, not in sudden, sweeping ways, but like a gentle tide that washes away the tension I did not realize I carried. In that stillness, I am learning not only how to be silent, but how to breathe differently. I am realizing now how much of my breathing has been shallow, not just physically, but spiritually. So much of my life has felt like holding my breath, waiting for answers, bracing for disappointment, trying to be strong. But today, as your peace settles deeper, I want to breathe in a new way. I want to inhale calm and exhale all the tension that no longer belongs in me. Lord, I do not want to live my days in a state of internal tightness, always waiting for something to go wrong. I want to choose a rhythm that reflects the truth I believe, a rhythm rooted in peace, not the kind that denies what is difficult, but the kind that carries me through it. I want the breath in my body to agree with the peace you have placed in my spirit. Let every inhale be a declaration that I trust you. Let every exhale be a quiet surrender of all I was never meant to carry. I know peace is not the absence of chaos. Life will still bring its demands. My mind will still wander. The world will still feel heavy. But within that, you offer something unshakable, a peace that does not depend on the external but flows from connection with you, a peace that stays even when circumstances do not, a peace that does not require perfection. Just presence, and you are present here. Even now, in this breath, in this moment, God, show me how to return to this breath when I am overwhelmed. Teach me to pause before reacting, to choose peace before panic, to lean into trust instead of spinning into fear. I want this to become a practice, not just a passing moment of calm. I want it to shape the way I move through the day. In meetings, in traffic, in conversations, in decisions, I want to carry this inner stillness like an anchor, a quiet reminder that I do not have to rush. I do not have to prove. I do not have to be afraid. Let peace settle in places where anxiety used to live, in my chest, in my jaw, in the back of my mind. Let it expand into the spaces that were once filled with tension. Let it become the atmosphere I choose to live in. Even if the world outside me feels chaotic, I want the world inside me to remain still. I want to walk through noise without becoming it, to face pressure without absorbing it, to move through conflict without being defined by it. Father, I know this is not something I can create on my own. Peace is not something I produce. It is something I receive, something I open myself to, something I trust you to give, even when I am unsure of how to hold it. So I lift my hands, even if only in spirit, and ask you to fill me again. Fill the places where stress once lived. Fill the corners where fear still lingers. Fill every breath with the reminder that you are with me. And because of that, I can rest. Let this peace not just comfort me, but transform me. Let it affect the way I listen, the way I speak, the way I carry myself. Let it soften my responses. Let it give me eyes to see others with compassion, not judgment. Let it help me forgive more easily, extend grace more freely, and stay grounded when everything around me tries to pull me off balance. Let peace be not just what I experience, but what I offer. God, I want to breathe like someone who is safe, like someone who is loved, like someone who believes that they are held by something greater than fear. Too often, I have let my breath be dictated by circumstance, quickened by panic, shallow from stress. But I was made to live differently. I was made to move through life with a steadiness that comes from knowing you, not from denying hard things, but from remembering I do not face them alone. Let me practice this even now. Inhale deeply, not just for oxygen, but for awareness. Exhale fully, not just to release air, but to let go of what I do not need to carry. Let this breath be more than physical. Let it be spiritual. Let it be communion with you, the kind that grounds me without words, the kind that reminds me I am connected to the one who is never shaken. Lord, if ever I forget this peace, call me back with gentleness. If ever I begin to spiral again, touch my shoulder, still my thoughts, and bring me back to this breath, this reminder, this truth, that you are near, that I am not in danger just because I do not have control, that I am not failing just because I feel overwhelmed, that I can stop right in the middle of whatever I am facing, and return to stillness not because the storm has passed, because you are with me in it. Let that be enough. Let it be enough to choose calm even when I do not feel confident. Let it be enough to pause even when others are pushing. Let it be enough to close my eyes and return to the rhythm of peace when the world moves too fast. Let this become my strength, not the loud, bold kind, but the quiet, steady kind, the kind that holds firm, the kind that does not flinch, the kind that trusts deeply and walks gently. Father, thank you for making peace more than an idea. Thank you for planting it inside me, letting it grow through each breath, each pause, each return. Thank you for reminding me that I do not have to chase what you have already given, that sometimes the most powerful thing I can do is breathe slowly, rest quietly, and know that you are God and I am safe. Father, as I have learned to breathe in peace and let it fill the spaces once ruled by anxiety, something deeper has begun to rise. Underneath the quiet, underneath the calm, I feel the stirring of another invitation, one that reaches into the deeper layers of my heart. I sense you gently leading me to the place I often avoid, the place I tend to step around in prayer, hoping maybe it will resolve itself with time. But you are patient, and you are kind, and you know that to move forward, there are things I can no longer carry. So today, you are calling me to forgive. Lord, this word forgive, it does not come easy. It carries weight. It stirs memories I thought I had buried. It awakens wounds I tried to convince myself had healed on their own. But when I sit with you in stillness, when peace begins to take root, I realize that resentment cannot grow in the same soil. And if I want peace to remain, I must release what holds me hostage to the past. Forgiveness, I am learning, is not about pretending nothing happened. It is not about erasing what was real or ignoring the pain that came with it. Forgiveness is not the absence of justice. It is the refusal to be chained to what someone else did or did not do. It is choosing freedom, even when every part of me wants to stay guarded. And God, you know how much I have guarded, not just my heart, but my memories. I have replayed conversations, rehearsed what I wish I had said, imagined different endings, all in an effort to feel powerful again after being hurt. But in truth, it has not made me strong. It has made me wary. It has made me cautious in places that should be open. It has made me suspicious where I used to be soft. And I miss the softness. I miss the ease of love without fear. I miss the joy that flows when my heart is not carrying the weight of old offenses. I do not want to live at the mercy of past pain anymore. I want to forgive, not just to let them go, but to let myself go, to be free from bitterness disguised as protection. So I bring you the names, Father, one by one, without performance or pretense. I whisper them in my heart, the ones who spoke words that pierced, the ones who left without explanation, the ones who misunderstood me, betrayed me, dismissed me, disappointed me. Some of the pain is sharp and clear. Some of it is vague and buried under years of silence. But you see it all. You remember the tears I shed that no one else noticed. You understand the H even when I cannot describe it. And so I hand them to you, not with clenched fists, but open hands. I do not ask you to erase what happened. I ask you to lift its power over me. I ask you to help me forgive what my flesh still resents, to speak grace over the places that still sting, to help me stop waiting for an apology that may never come, because my healing cannot depend on their awareness. My freedom cannot hinge on their remorse. You have shown me a better way, a higher way, and though it hurts, I trust that forgiving forward will unlock what bitterness has sealed shut. Lord, I even bring you the person I struggle to forgive the most myself, for the times I fell short, for the decisions I regret, for the moments I knew better and still chose wrong, for the years I spent blaming myself for things beyond my control. I have held myself to impossible standards, and I have carried shame as if it were a punishment I deserved. But if you, the Holy One, have already forgiven me, who am I to keep punishing what you have already covered? Teach me to speak kindness over myself, not indulgence, but mercy, the same mercy I am learning to extend to others. Let me stop expecting perfection and begin honoring progress. Let me stop rehearsing old failures and begin rehearsing grace. The kind of grace that lifts my head when shame says, "Look away." The kind that invites me to begin again. Not because I have earned it, because you delight in restoring what has been broken. God, I want to pretend this process is easy. Forgiveness is not a single choice, but a repeated one. Some days, the pain resurfaces, and I want to pick up the offense again. On those days, remind me what freedom feels like. Remind me why I laid it down. Remind me that forgiveness is not weakness, but strength, the kind that walks away from the need to be right in order to be whole. The kind that releases the past to embrace the future you have promised. Let forgiveness shape how I see people. Let it soften my assumptions and open my ears. Let it remind me that everyone is carrying something unseen. That hurt people, and that sometimes grace is the most powerful response, not to enable harm, but to end its cycle. Let me be someone who breaks that cycle, not just for me, but for the ones who come after me, for the next generation who deserves a legacy built on mercy, not bitterness, even in the smallest acts. Father, let forgiveness be my posture, in the way I speak when I feel wronged, in the way I respond when someone falls short, in the way I interpret silence or sharp words, in the way I withhold judgment, even when I feel entitled to it. Let me reflect the same grace I have received. Let my life become evidence of what it means to be forgiven and to forgive not perfectly, but faithfully. I know this journey is ongoing. There are wounds I have just begun to uncover. There are layers I have yet to feel. But I trust that you will walk me through each one, that you will not rush me, nor let me stall forever, that you will be the steady hand guiding me through the process of release, that with each step I am becoming lighter, softer, stronger, that every choice to forgive makes room for more of you in me. So let this be the day I continue the turning, from resentment to release, from self-blame to self-compassion, from remembering pain to remembering grace, not because everything is fixed, but because I am ready to be free, ready to stop letting the past narrate my story, ready to forgive forward not as a favor to others, but as a gift to my soul, a gift only you could teach me how to give. Father, as I continue this journey of healing and release, something is rising inside of me. It is not loud, not forceful, but steady like a rhythm I had forgotten was mine. After naming the lies, speaking your word, breathing in peace, and choosing to forgive, I feel space inside me that was once occupied by sorrow now echoing with something new, the sound of faith. A sound I did not expect to hear so soon. A sound that feels like courage, like truth becoming breath, like the first note in a song that is about to be sung again. Lord, I have spent so much of my life silencing myself. I let shame hush me. I let fear tighten my voice. I let uncertainty dictate my tone. Even in prayer, I often whispered more questions than declarations. But you are shifting something in me. You are reminding me that faith is not silent. It speaks. It declares what the heart believes before the eyes can see it. It chooses to lift its voice even when nothing around has changed. And so today, I want to practice that sound. I want to speak from the deepest part of me, not from what I feel, but from what I believe. God, let my words align with what you say about me. Let them not mirror my doubts, but magnify your truth. Let my tongue no longer echo defeat, but proclaim life. I want my confession to be rooted not in fear, but in trust, not in circumstance, but in your promises. Let me speak like someone who knows that you are faithful. Let me declare joy when I still feel tired. Let me speak strength even when I feel weak. Let me say, it is well, not because everything is perfect, but because you are present. This is not pretending. It is prophesying. It is choosing to speak as if the breakthrough has already begun. It is believing that my words have weight not because they are magic, because they come from a heart that trusts in something unshakable. Your word tells me that life and death are in the power of the tongue, and I have known the death side well. I have spoken words that wounded me, and words that kept me bound. But now, with your help, I choose life. Lord, help me speak these things not once, but often, not only when I feel spiritual, but when I feel empty. Not just when I am surrounded by light, but when darkness tries to return. Let these declarations become my language. Let them be the soundtrack of my days. Let them shape my atmosphere, not only in prayer, but in conversation, in solitude, in conflict, in joy. Teach me not to speak from my emotions, but from my faith. Not to declare what I fear, but what I hope for. Let my mouth become a gateway through which heaven enters my everyday. And when discouragement knocks, let it be met with praise. When anxiety rises, let it be met with truth. When hopelessness whispers, let it be drowned out by the sound of faith echoing from my spirit. God, I confess that some days, speaking faith feels foreign. It feels unnatural to declare what I do not yet feel. But I am learning that faith does not wait for emotion to follow. It leads, it sets the tone, and my soul learns to follow the sound it hears most often. So let that sound be your truth from my lips. Let it be the melody that carries me from morning to night. Let it be louder than every lie that once had a home in me. Even in the quietest moments, when no one hears but you, let my words still carry life. Let me whisper declarations into the silence, trusting that they still matter. Let me speak encouragement over myself the way I would to someone I love. Let me become fluent in victory, in healing, in restoration, in joy. Let me learn the vocabulary of grace and speak it fluently over my circumstances. Father, I even speak now over the places that still ache, over the prayers not yet answered, over the chapters not yet closed. I declare that you are not done, that what feels delayed is not denied, that what is still silent is not forgotten, that what is still unclear is still held in your hands. I speak life over my future. I speak blessing over what is ahead. I speak strength into the parts of me that feel tired. I speak hope in the places that once felt hollow. Let this sound be contagious. Let it shape not only my own spirit, but the atmosphere around me. Let the way I speak inspire others to speak truth too. Let my words carry weight in rooms where fear once reigned. Let me speak peace in conflict. Let me speak purpose into doubt. Let me speak light into someone else's darkness. Not because I have all the answers, but because I have learned to speak from the one who does. Lord, I thank you that my voice matters, that my words are not empty, that when I speak in alignment with your heart, something shifts even if it is only inside me at first. I thank you that faith spoken becomes faith strengthened, that declarations made in trembling become declarations made in confidence over time, that the more I speak truth, the more I believe it, the more I declare joy, the more I find it, the more I say I trust you, the more that trust becomes real. So let me speak again and again. Let my lips form truth until it flows freely. Let my declarations shape my reality, not just reflect it. Let this be the sound of my days, a sound that heaven recognizes, a sound that darkness cannot imitate, a sound that breaks through silence, lifts heavy hearts, and reminds me I am not powerless. I have a voice. I have truth. I have faith. And faith speaks. Faith sings. Faith declares what it knows to be true, even before it is seen. Father, thank you for helping me find my voice again, not the voice of shame, or fear, or performance, but the voice of a child who trusts their father, a voice filled with love, with courage, with fire. Let this be the sound that rises every morning and lingers into every night, the sound of faith, alive and unafraid. Lord, after finding the sound of faith again, something within me is learning to shift even further. I used to think joy only came at the finish line, when prayers were answered, when pain had passed, when everything finally made sense. But now I sense you teaching me a different rhythm, one where joy is not reserved for resolution, but chosen in the middle of the unknown, one where rejoicing is not a reaction, but a response of trust. And Father, how I want to live in that kind of joy. God, I used to think joy was fragile, fleeting, something I had to chase or earn. But now I see that joy is steady, joy is rooted. Joy is a quiet strength that does not depend on how the story ends. It grows in surrender, in trust, in the daily choosing to believe you are good even when life is hard. I do not want to wait until everything is perfect before I learn to celebrate what is already true. I want to rejoice now, right here, in this in-between. Some things are still unresolved. Some prayers are still waiting. Some areas of my heart are still healing. But in the middle of it all, I can smile, I can breathe, I can sing, not because it is easy, but because you are here. Because you are joy, not just the giver of it, but joy itself. And in your presence, joy is never out of reach. Lord, remind me that joy is not denial. It does not ignore grief. It does not silence sadness, but it exists beside them. It gives me something solid to hold when everything else feels uncertain. It reminds me of beauty, of possibility, of goodness that still exists even in the mess. It lifts my head without ignoring my tears. It gives me permission to laugh again, not because everything is fixed, but because my spirit remembers that you are still working. Help me, God, to practice joy daily. Let it show up in my small choices, in the way I greet the morning, in how I speak to others, in how I let myself rest, in how I notice the little things: a bird outside the window, a kind word from a friend, sunlight spilling across the floor. These are not random. They are whispers of joy, quiet invitations to lean into gladness instead of gloom. And I want to say yes to them. There are days when the heaviness creeps back in, days when hope feels thin. On those days, Lord, remind me that joy is not just a feeling I wait for, it is a weapon I can wield, a light I can hold up against the dark, a declaration that says, I still believe. Joy is how I tell fear it does not win. Joy is how I breathe again when sorrow tries to take my voice. Let me be someone who carries joy with integrity. Not pretending, not forced, but real. The kind of joy that acknowledges pain but refuses to bow to it. The kind of joy that grows deeper through trials. Let it be seen in my eyes, heard in my voice, felt in my presence. Not a mask, but a testimony. Not a performance, but a quiet defiance against despair. God, I realize joy can look different each day. Sometimes it is loud, like singing out loud in the car or dancing in the kitchen for no reason. Other times, it is soft, like breathing deeply and whispering thanks for one more sunrise. Teach me to honor joy in all its forms, to not wait for big moments before celebrating small ones, to not let disappointment make me numb to delight. Let joy return to the places where I stopped hoping. Let it rise again in rooms where laughter had grown quiet. Let it return not because life suddenly got easier, but because I remembered who you are. You are faithful. You are kind. You are the God of new mercies each morning, and I do not want to miss them. Lord, help me speak joy over my life today. I declare that my spirit will not be ruled by fear, that my day will not be defined by pressure, that my thoughts will not spiral toward despair. I speak joy into the waiting, joy into the not yet, joy into the journey, because I trust you with the outcome. I choose joy in the process. Let it be strength to me, not a temporary high, but a deep resolve. Let it shape how I respond when things go wrong. Let it soften me when I am tempted to harden. Let it keep me open, light-hearted and full of wonder. The world may try to steal it, but I will guard it. I will protect joy like treasure, because that is what it is, evidence that my heart still trusts, that my hope is alive, that I have not given up. I know this kind of joy does not come from pretending. It comes from presence, from learning to sit with you in the silence and let you fill the spaces I once filled with striving. It comes from choosing celebration in advance, before the answer, before the breakthrough. It comes from the conviction that even in the middle of it all, you are enough. Let this joy spill over. Let it be contagious. Let others feel lighter simply because I carry something different, something eternal, something stronger than what they are facing. Let joy become part of the legacy I leave, evidence of a life lived not under fear, but under grace, not waiting for perfection, but embracing the beauty of the now. So, Father, I choose joy today, not because it is easy, but because it is holy, not because I have arrived, but because you walk with me. I choose to rejoice not at the end of the story, but right here in the middle, because this middle is not meaningless. It is where faith is forged. It is where joy is deepest. It is where I learn that what I carry in my heart matters more than what I see with my eyes. And today, I carry joy. Father, as joy has begun to settle into my days, not as a fleeting emotion, but as a quiet, steady companion, I feel you drawing me even deeper. Joy taught me to smile in the middle, to lift my voice when things remain unclear. But now I feel you pointing me toward something even more lasting, something that anchors the heart when even joy seems hard to grasp. You are leading me toward gratitude, not gratitude that depends on what I have, but one that is rooted in who you are. Lord, it is easy to give thanks when blessings feel obvious, when doors open, when prayers are answered, when the sun shines a little warmer than usual. But I believe you are teaching me a different kind of gratitude, one that reaches beyond the surface, beyond the moment. A gratitude that does not wait for the right conditions, but grows in the ordinary. That is the kind of life I want, not a life always chasing what is next, but one content enough to treasure what is here. I am learning that gratitude does not begin with big things. It begins with attention, with noticing, with pausing long enough to see what I have overlooked: the breath in my lungs, the strength in my legs, the roof over my head, the people I love, the lessons I have lived through, the mornings I thought I would not make it, and yet here I am. These are not small things. They are daily mercies. They are evidence of grace, God. I want to be someone who sees through that lens, someone whose first instinct is to give thanks, not to complain, someone who does not wait for life to be perfect to praise you. I want to build a habit of gratitude that is strong enough to hold me when storms come. I want to train my heart to count gifts, especially when losses try to distract me. Gratitude does not erase grief, but it reframes it. It reminds me that there is always something to hold on to, even when much has been taken. Let my words be filled with thanksgiving, not as obligation, but as overflow. Let it change the way I speak to others. Let it soften how I see myself. Let it quiet the voice of entitlement that says I deserve more. Let it dismantle comparison, which so often steals joy. I cannot live thankfully and enviously at the same time. Gratitude frees me from the illusion that I am lacking, reminds me that enough has already been given. Lord, I know gratitude is not passive. It is a discipline, a choice, a practice. It asks me to look again at things I have grown used to and see them as miracles, to look at my scars and see them as stories, to see my waiting not as wasted time, but as preparation. Gratitude does not shrink my pain, it surrounds it with perspective. It allows me to say, even here, even now, I see goodness. There have been seasons when I forgot how to give thanks. Seasons when disappointment narrowed my vision, and all I could see was what went wrong. But you were still there. You never stopped giving. I simply stopped noticing. And now, you are gently retraining my eyes, inviting me to begin again, not by forcing joy, but by learning to say, "Thank you," right where I am, even when I do not feel it yet, even when the answers are still forming. Thank you, Father, for the little things, the unexpected laugh, the kindness of a stranger, a quiet night, a warm meal, a message from someone who did not forget. These moments feel small, but they build something strong. They remind me that you are paying attention, that I am not invisible to you, that you love to give good gifts, even if they come in simple packaging. And thank you for the hard things too, the detours that taught me more than my plans ever could, the waiting that built my faith, the people who challenged me to grow, the prayers that went unanswered, because sometimes the silence was protection. I may not always understand in the moment, but gratitude helps me trust in hindsight. It reminds me that you are always working, even when I do not yet see the full picture. Let thankfulness become my atmosphere. Let it fill my mornings before the demands of the day begin. Let it be the lens through which I see challenges as opportunities to lean into grace. Let it mark my relationships so that others feel appreciated, not taken for granted. Let it shape how I handle success, so that pride never overtakes humility. Let it be the rhythm that steadies my emotions when circumstances shift. Father, plant gratitude deep inside me. Let it become a root system that stabilizes my spirit, not easily swayed by disappointment, not quick to forget the blessings I carry. Let it be my response when I do not know what else to say. Let it be my resistance against bitterness, fear, and complaint. Let it be how I remember that I am never truly empty. When I feel tired, remind me of how far you have brought me. When I feel overwhelmed, show me how much you have already sustained me. When I feel uncertain, help me trace the thread of your faithfulness through my past. There is always something to be thankful for, and if I ever forget, teach me again slowly, gently, persistently, because gratitude is not just for good days. It is for every day. So today, I give thanks for the progress I have made and the progress still ahead, for the peace that now visits my mornings, for the joy that I am learning to choose, for the strength to forgive, for the breath to keep going. For you present through it all. You are the reason gratitude makes sense. You are the constant when all else changes. And because of that, I will give thanks not only for what has been given, but for who you are. Let this spirit of gratitude spill into all I do. Let it remind me that I live under grace, not pressure, that I wake up blessed, not burdened, that I carry joy, not just responsibilities, that every moment, no matter how small, is a chance to say, thank you, and mean it with my whole heart. Father, as gratitude continues to open my eyes to your nearness, and joy continues to bloom even in the waiting, I feel you calling me inward again to a place even deeper than peace, deeper than practice. You are guiding me to the core of who I am, not who I pretend to be, not who others see, but who I truly am in you. And I realize now how long I have carried names that never came from you, how often I have let my identity be shaped by pain, comparison, performance, and fear. Lord, I confess that I have spent so much of my life asking the silent question, am I enough? I have measured my value by outcomes, by approval, by how useful I felt in the moment. And when I did not measure up to my own expectations, or worse, to the imagined expectations of others, I let shame name me. I let fear define me. I let rejection write my label. But all this time, you have been whispering a truer name. A name not based on what I do, but on who you are. And today, I want to hear that name clearly. God. I want to stop building my identity on things that change. Titles, roles, achievements, applause. These are not firm foundations. They shift too easily. And when they crumble, so does my confidence. But you remain the same. And when you call me yours, that truth holds no matter what shakes around me. You never called me mistake. You never labeled me forgotten. You never once said unworthy. These lies crept in from other places' wounds. Disappointments, even my own inner voice, but never from you. Father, remind me who I am, not what the world says, not what I fear, not even what I feel, but who I am according to your truth. You say I am loved not occasionally, not when I get it right, but always. You say I am chosen not accidentally, but intentionally. You say I am redeemed not by my effort, but by your mercy. You say I am accepted not because I earned it, but because you gave it freely. These are not just kind words, they are identity, and I want to wear them like armor. Help me tear down the old labels, the ones I have worn so long they feel like skin, labels like too much, not enough, failure, forgotten, unwanted, unqualified. I strip them off in your presence, not with shame, but with relief. They were never meant to stay. They never belonged to me. And now, I receive what you have already spoken. I am yours, I am held, I am seen, I am known. And still, I am loved. Lord, let this identity shape how I show up in the world. Let me stop striving to prove my worth and start living from it. Let me no longer perform for affection, but rest in belonging. Let me speak from security instead of insecurity. Let me serve from fullness instead of fear. Let the way I walk, talk, and love reflect someone who knows who they are, because they know whose they are. When doubt rises, when I feel overlooked, when I question my place, bring me back to this truth. Let it be an anchor. Let it be louder than the lies. Let it silence the inner critic. Let it outlast the praise and endure past the criticism. Whether I am celebrated or ignored, succeeding or struggling, let me remain rooted in who I am. Not a label, not a role, not a temporary version of myself, but a child of God, fully known and fully accepted. There will be moments, Lord, when I forget, when old thoughts knock at the door, when insecurities whisper again, when wounds try to reopen. In those moments, draw me close, not with correction, but with reassurance. Let me feel the weight of your love again. Let me remember that nothing and no one can take away what you have declared over me. I am not fighting for identity. I am living from it. Let this truth affect how I see others. 2. If I am your child, so are they. If you call me worthy, then I must also call them worthy, not because they always act lovable, but because you have placed value on their lives. Let me not compete with my brothers and sisters, but walk beside them with compassion. Let me celebrate others without diminishing myself. Let me learn to speak life into their identity, even as I learn to embrace my own. God, I know that identity is not a destination. It is a daily return, a remembering, a quiet whisper that I will need again and again. So keep whispering. In the middle of failure, remind me I am not disqualified. In the waiting, remind me I am not forgotten. In the ordinary moments, remind me I am not invisible. In every moment, speak the name you call me by: beloved, chosen, child, heir. Let that name override every other. Let it rise above the noise. Let it heal what words once broke. Let it carry me into every room with confidence, not rooted in pride, but in presence. Let it remind me that even if the world never sees me, you do. Even if the world forgets me, you never will. Even if I lose everything I thought defined me, I am still who you say I am. So today, I walk in that truth, not because I feel invincible, but because I trust you. Not because I have earned it, but because you have spoken it. I live not for identity, but from it. I live not to be enough, but as one already loved, already chosen, already known. And that is more than enough. That is freedom. That is truth. That is who I am. Father, now that I have begun to settle into the truth of who I am, no longer chasing approval or hiding behind insecurity, I can feel something rising inside me. It is not arrogance or performance. It is something deeper, quieter, steadier. Confidence, not the kind built on appearance or success, but the kind that comes from being anchored in you. The kind that lets me walk into today without shrinking. The kind that no longer waits for permission to be who you created me to be. Lord, this is unfamiliar territory. For so long, I lived small. I second-guessed my voice. I questioned my instincts. I watered myself down to avoid offending, to avoid failing, to avoid standing out in the wrong way. But now I understand that playing small does not serve anyone, not you, not others, and certainly not the purpose you have placed inside me. So I choose to walk forward with the kind of boldness that is rooted in surrender, a courage that is born from trust. God, I used to think confidence meant having all the answers, being the best, standing at the front, but I see now that confidence looks more like obedience. It is saying yes to what you have put before me, even when it stretches me. It is trusting that if you have placed a calling on my life, you have already placed the grace inside me to carry it. I do not need to compare. I do not need to impress. I do not need to chase what was never mine to begin with. I just need to walk in step with you, with my head held high and my heart rooted in your truth. Let this confidence not be loud, but firm. Let it not be flashy, but unmistakable. Let it not be about proving anything, but about carrying something, your presence, your wisdom, your love. Let me enter rooms knowing I belong, not because I am perfect, but because I am yours. Let me speak without apology, serve without hesitation, and lead without fear, not to dominate, but to represent you with grace. Lord, confess there are still moments when the old doubts creep in, when I feel unqualified, when I hear the echo of old rejections, when I sense the fear of getting it wrong. But in those moments, remind me that confidence does not mean I feel afraid. It means I know where to place my fear. I give it to you. I let you carry what I can't, and then I move forward anyway, because courage is not the absence of fear. It is choosing to trust anyway. Teach me to walk through my days with posture not one of pride, but of peace. Shoulders back, chin up, eyes open, heart ready. Let me take up the space you have given me. Not more, not less. Let me step into opportunities without second guessing if I am worthy. If you have opened the door, I do not need to ask whether I am allowed to walk through it. You say I am called. That is enough. Let confidence flow through the way I love others. Let it keep me from performing for acceptance. Let it allow me to set boundaries with kindness. Let it shape the way I carry responsibility with clarity and not control. Let it protect me from people-pleasing and help me live with honesty. Even when it is uncomfortable, let me no longer be defined by how others perceive me, but by how you see me. Father, I ask that this confidence would become a covering over my weaknesses, not a mask. Let it be an inner knowing that when I fall, I can rise again, that mistakes do not undo my identity, that even when I stumble, I am still on solid ground. Confidence does not mean perfection. It means I do not give up when it is hard. It means I do not wait until I feel fully ready. I trust that you are already enough inside me. Let my daily decisions reflect someone who knows where they stand, in how I use my time, in the risks I take, in the people I pursue, in the dreams I no longer bury, in the habits I choose. Let me walk like someone who is being led, not just wandering, like someone who carries purpose, not just pressure, like someone who is rooted in conviction, not tossed around by approval or fear. God, help me be confident even in my quiet moments, when no one is watching, when there is no applause, no affirmation, no validation. Let that be where my strength deepens. Let that be where I remember that who I am when one sees is who I truly am. And you are there, and you are enough. And therefore, I am secure. And when I begin to shrink again, because I will draw me back into this confidence, not with shame, but with grace. Remind me of where I began, not trying to prove anything, just trying to follow you. Let that be enough. Let that always be enough. Give me courage to walk in what you have entrusted to me, to say yes when it matters, to say no when it is wise, to rest when I need to, without guilt, to work when it is time, without fear, to speak when truth is needed, to listen when silence is sacred, to move through the world as someone who knows they are deeply loved, not just as a concept, but as the most real thing I carry. Lord, confidence is not something I need to build from scratch. It is something you are restoring in me, piece by piece. You are returning what fear tried to steal. You are showing me that my voice matters, my presence matters, my obedience matters. You are building something through my life, not in spite of my weakness, but through it. And if you are building it, then I do not need to doubt the foundation. So let me walk forward with courage today, not waiting to feel fearless, but choosing to trust anyway. Let me move into this day with assurance that I am not a mistake, not an accident, not an afterthought. I am a daughter. I am a son. I am a vessel. I am here on purpose. And that truth makes me bold. That truth makes me stand tall. That truth makes me move forward with confidence, one faithful step at a time. Lord, now that I have begun walking in confidence one step at a time, rooted in who you say I am, I can sense another invitation rising in my spirit. It is quiet, but unmistakable. You are asking me to move forward, not only when I can see the way, but especially when I cannot. You are leading me to trust you in the unknown, to find courage not from clarity, but from presence. And Father, that is the kind of faith I long to carry, not one that requires full vision, but one that believes even in the dark. God, I will admit, I like knowing what is next. I like plans, timelines, and tidy answers. I like the comfort of predictability. But life has shown me again and again that the road rarely unfolds in neat lines. Sometimes you give me a glimpse, but more often you give me one step, and it is in that single step where I often hesitate. Not because I do not want to follow, but because I am afraid of what I can't see, afraid of the gaps, afraid of the silence between instructions. But now I understand that is where courage begins. Lord, remind me that courage is not the absence of fear. It is the decision to walk anyway, to take the next step even when I do not know the destination, to say yes even when the outcome feels uncertain, to trust that your path is safe even when it is unfamiliar. The more I walk with you, the more I see that clarity is not always the gift you give first. Often, you give closeness, and closeness is enough. I used to think I needed to have a vision for the whole journey before I moved, but you show me that faith grows 1 mile at a time. That often, the light you provide is just enough for the ground in front of me. Not the mountain ahead, not the valley beyond, just the next stone. And in that limited light, I learn to lean deeper. I learn to listen closer. I learn that it is not about knowing the route. It is about knowing the guide. Father, help me release my grip on outcomes. Help me let go of the illusion that I am in control. You never promised certainty, but you did promise presence. You never guaranteed a straight path, but you did say you would make it clear in time. So let me trust the process, even when the timeline stretches longer than I would hoped. Let me believe you are working, even when I see no evidence yet. Let me rest in the knowledge that what feels like waiting is often preparation. God, I know there will be moments when fear tries to stop me, when questions feel louder than peace, when the unknown feels like a threat instead of an invitation. In those moments, remind me that fear is not my leader. You are. That anxiety is not a roadmap. Your word is that I do not have to feel brave to choose brave. I just have to choose you. Again and again, let courage rise quietly. Let it show up in the way I get out of bed even when I feel overwhelmed. In the way I speak truth even when my voice shakes. In the way I show up for others even when I am unsure of what to say. Let it rise in the way I keep building when the finish line is out of sight. Let it rise in how I keep loving when trust has been broken before. Let it rise in how I let go of what is no longer mine to carry. Lord, you have never once led me into a place you were not already present. Even in the shadows, even in the stretching, even in the detours I did not ask for, you were there. And if you were faithful then, you will be faithful now. Let that be enough. Let that be the truth I return to when the way forward feels blurry. You are not asking me to predict. You are asking me to believe. And when I begin to doubt, when I start to feel like I need to have it all figured out before I move, remind me that sometimes faith looks like showing up without all the answers. Sometimes it looks like packing up hope and walking into a room without knowing what I will find there. Sometimes it looks like saying yes without the full picture, because the full picture was never the point. You are the point. Help me embrace the unknown not as a threat, but as a sacred space. The unknown is where I meet you in new ways. It is where I learn that trust is not just something I talk about, it is something I live. It is where my prayers get deeper, not out of desperation, but intimacy. It is where I trade certainty for wonder, performance for presence, fear for freedom. Let this courage become part of how I move through the world. Let it carry me into risks I would be once avoided. Let it shape my relationships so I love without needing guarantees. Let it change the way I dream so I pursue the ideas you have placed in my heart, even when they do not make sense to others. Let it infuse my work, my creativity, my leadership, my rest. Let courage touch every corner of my life, not because I have control, but because I have you, God. If I have to choose between comfort and calling, let me choose calling. If I must choose between staying safe or stepping out in obedience, let me take the risk. If the choice is between waiting until I feel ready and walking when you say go, let me lace up my shoes and move. Because you are not only the God of arrival, you are the God of the journey, and the unknown is not unknown to you. So today, I say yes again. Yes to the places that make me nervous. Yes to the dreams that feel bigger than me. Yes to the conversations that stretch me. Yes to the decisions that require trust. I do not need to see the whole path. I just need to follow the light you have placed at my feet. And as long as you are with me, I know I will never walk alone. That is my confidence. That is my courage. That is enough. Father, after walking through the unknown with a courage that did not come from clarity, but from trust, I now feel you calling me to something even more challenging, something quieter, deeper, and easily missed. You are not asking for more action. You are inviting surrender, not the kind that signals defeat, but the kind that anchors strength. Not giving up, but giving over. And God, I am ready, not because I have no other choice, but because I finally believe that your hands are stronger than mine. Lord, I have spent so many years striving, trying to hold everything together, trying to fix what broke, trying to secure outcomes I can control, trying to protect people, paths, and pieces of life that were never mine to hold. I wore it like responsibility. But underneath, it was fear. I feared what would happen if I let go, if I stepped back, if I stopped striving. I thought surrender would mean losing ground, but now I see it as the only way to gain real peace. You are not asking me to abandon purpose or become passive. You are inviting me into alignment, where my heart no longer races ahead of you or falls behind in hesitation. Surrender is not the end of power. It is where true power begins. Because when I stop forcing, I start flowing with what you are already doing. When I stop controlling, I start cooperating with a plan that is bigger than mine. When I stop resisting, I finally rest. God, I want that rest, not just for my body, but for my mind. I want to quiet the part of me that is always calculating, always managing, always anticipating what could go wrong. I want to stop rehearsing battles that may never come. I want to lay down the burden of figuring everything out. You never asked me to carry that weight. You only asked me to trust you with it. I surrender the outcomes I cannot predict. I surrender the timelines I have tried to force. I surrender the fears I have fed with constant worry. I surrender the relationships I have tried to fix with my own hands. I surrender the dreams I have been holding so tightly that they have stopped breathing. I surrender the parts of me I have kept guarded because I was afraid of being disappointed again. All of it, I give it back to you. Let surrender become my strength. Let it remind me that I do not have to perform to be protected. I do not have to figure it all out to be faithful. I do not have to understand to obey. I do not have to rush to keep up with someone else's story. I just have to follow you, and you walk at a pace that honors healing, that honors process, that honors trust. Lord, when the temptation returns to take it all back into my hands, remind me of the freedom I have tasted when I let go. Let surrender not be a one-time decision, but a daily rhythm, a posture of heart that says, not my will, but yours. A posture that opens my hands, loosens my jaw, softens my gaze. A posture that lets me breathe deeper because I am no longer trying to control what belongs to you. And when the voices of this world tell me that surrender is weakness, let your truth speak louder. Show me that strength is found in the quiet places, in the silence between answers, in the stillness of trust, in the peace that comes when I stop pushing. Let surrender be what sets me apart, not as someone who has it all together, but as someone who knows they are held together by something greater. God, let surrender change the way I pray. Let me pray not just to get answers, but to get aligned. Let me come to you not to demand, but to yield. Let me bring my desires honestly, but place them at your feet willingly. Let my prayers be shaped more by what do you want for me than here's what I want from you. And if your answer is wait, Help me trust your timing. If your answer is no, help me see the protection behind it. If your answer is silence, help me hear what you are saying in the stillness. Let surrender affect how I love. Let it teach me to let others be who they are instead of who I expect. Let it free me from trying to carry what only you can heal in them. Let it give me the grace to release and the strength to stay open. Let me love without needing to control. Let me give without fear of loss. Let me trust that you are working even when I do not see results. Father, you are not threatened by my weakness. You are not surprised by my fear. You are not impatient with my hesitation. You meet me right here in the place where I finally admit that I can carry it all, and I do not have to. That is where you begin to build something deeper. That is where you breathe peace into the places where striving used to live. That is where strength rises not from effort, but from rest. So today, I let go, not out of failure, but out of faith, not because I am giving up, but because I am giving in to you, to your way, to your pace. I surrender not only what I cannot control, but what I have been trying to. I place it all in your hands, the safest, strongest hands there are. And I walk forward lighter, not because everything is resolved, but because I am no longer trying to resolve it alone. Let that be my strength. Let surrender be my courage. Let trust be my anthem. Let peace be my guide. And let today be a living reminder that I was never called to carry what you already promised to hold. Father, now that I have laid down my striving and stepped into the quiet strength of surrender, you are teaching me something even more subtle and profound. It is not about the mountaintop moments or the dramatic breakthroughs. It is about showing up again and again in the unnoticed, the routine, the repetitive. It is in the ordinary where faith grows roots. It is in the daily where you ask me to meet you not just with passion, but with perseverance. God, I used to chase the extraordinary. I thought meaning was always found in big assignments, loud outcomes, grand gestures. I thought significance was tied to spotlight moments. But you are showing me now that some of the most sacred work happens in the spaces no one else sees. Washing dishes, sending the text, holding space for someone's pain, waking up again to responsibilities that rarely get thanked. It is in those quiet acts of faithfulness where your spirit whispers, "This matters." Lord, I confess that sometimes I have overlooked what you have entrusted to me because it did not look like what I expected. I have romanticized calling while neglecting consistency. I have prayed for direction while ignoring the discipline you were building in the current season. I have asked for fruit without tending the soil. But now I see you are just as present in my daily grind as you are in my deepest prayers. You are not waiting for me at the finish line. You are walking with me through the repetition. Let me stop underestimating the holy in my ordinary. Let me wake up each morning not chasing new, but honoring now. Let me offer my work, my words, my routines, my rest as worship. Let me stop rushing through tasks as if they are obstacles to purpose, and instead see them as platforms for obedience. You are not impressed by speed. You are moved by steady faithfulness. That is what I want to cultivate. Lord, I need your help to stay grounded when the work feels mundane, when it feels like I am planting seeds with no sign of harvest, when no one claps, no one sees, and no one says thank you. Remind me in those moments that you see. You delight in the faithful. You are the rewarder of those who seek you not only with passion, but with persistence. Help me become someone who shows up not because of outcome, but because of conviction. And when boredom whispers that what I am doing does not matter, remind me that consistency is a quiet kind of courage. That sometimes the most powerful act of faith is showing up one more time, saying one more prayer, choosing kindness again, serving without needing to be seen, forgiving one more time, doing the right thing even when no one else is watching. That is the kind of life you bless. That is the kind of strength you build. Let my character be shaped by my habits. Let my private obedience outweigh my public performance. Let my unseen choices be rooted in integrity. Let me become someone who does not just obey when it is exciting, but also when it is exhausting. Because the deeper my roots in you, the stronger I become. And roots are not grown in applause. They grow in silence, in repetition, in surrender. Father, thank you for the spaces in my life that feel small. Thank you for the people I serve daily, the tasks I repeat, the moments I am tempted to rush past. These are not interruptions to purpose, they are the very places where purpose is formed. You are in my hallway conversations, in my morning commutes, in the meals I prepare, in the spreadsheets, in the meetings, in the caregiving, in the listening. You are in it all, and that makes it sacred. Help me resist the temptation to escape the season I am in. Help me stay present, to give my best even when it does not feel like it matters. To pursue excellence even when excellence seems to go unnoticed. Let me be someone who works not for recognition, but for you. Someone who is faithful with what is in their hands, not waiting for something more glamorous to feel fulfilled. Someone who realizes that you do extraordinary things through ordinary obedience. Lord, remind me that legacy is not built overnight. It is built over years of small yeses, years of choosing right over easy, years of returning to what matters most, years of staying when I could walk away, years of loving when it costs me. Let that be my story, not one of flash, but of faithfulness, of quiet strength, of steadfast trust, of daily surrender that adds up to a life of purpose. And when fatigue sets in, when my hands grow tired, when my heart questions the point, lift my eyes to you again. Let your joy be my strength. Let your word be my reminder. Let your spirit be my breath. I do not need the whole road, just enough grace for today. Just enough courage to do the next right thing. Just enough vision to know that this moment matters even if no one else sees. Father, help me anchor my value not in what I do, but in who I am. Let me not confuse productivity with worth. Let me rest without guilt. Let me work without ego. Let me live without constantly striving to prove something. Faithfulness is not about being perfect, it is about being present. Let me be here, now, fully, trusting that you are doing more through my small obedience than I will ever fully understand. So here I am again, Lord, heart open, hands ready. Whether today is full of action or stillness, success or silence, I choose to be faithful, not because it always feels meaningful, but because you are worthy. You are the one I am building for, and nothing done in love, in trust, in obedience to you is ever wasted. This is holy ground even here. Even now, even in the ordinary, Lord. After learning to honor you through the quiet, faithful rhythms of ordinary life, I now sense you preparing me for something weightier, because life is not always quiet. Sometimes it roars. Sometimes the winds shift suddenly, and what once felt steady becomes unstable. You know this, and that is why you are not only the God of gentle mornings and daily routines, but the God of storms. And today, you are reminding me that even in the chaos, I can remain unshaken because I am not anchored to outcomes. I am anchored to you. Father, you know how quickly a storm can come. The diagnosis, the job loss, the betrayal, the moment where control slips through my fingers and I am left grasping for peace that used to feel so close. You have seen the days when faith feels small and fear grows louder. But you never leave, and you never change. You are the still point in my spinning world, and even when the storm rages around me, you offer calm within. God, I am not asking for a life without storms. I am asking for a heart that holds firm in the middle of them. I am asking for the kind of faith that not just sing when skies are clear, but clings when clouds roll in. The kind that remembers what you have done when everything around me says to forget. The kind that does not panic at the first sign of trouble, but leans deeper into your voice. You are the anchor that holds, not just when things go well, but when they fall apart. I know what it feels like to stand on shifting ground, but now I know what it means to be held. And the more I trust that you are present in the storm, not just after it, the more I find myself steady. Even when I do not have all the answers, my hope is not in smooth sailing. My hope is in the one who calms the waves with a word. Lord, when I feel like I am drowning in doubt or disappointment, teach me to reach for you first, not for the solution, not for the explanation. For you, because you do not always remove the storm, but you always enter it. You walk on the waves. You speak in the wind. You hold me close while everything else shakes. And somehow, that is enough, not because the pain disappears, but because I no longer face it alone. Let your word be the rock beneath my feet. Let your promises steady my breath. Let your truth become the voice I return to when everything else grows loud. When I do not know what to pray, remind me to simply whisper your name. When I feel powerless, remind me that you are not. When I feel forgotten, remind me that you are near. Let me hold to you with both hands, refusing to let go. There is a kind of strength that only emerges in the storm, a strength that cannot be faked or forced. It is forged in fire, formed in trial, built in the hours when I feel undone. And I want that strength, not so I can look put together, but so I can stand with peace when others fall. So I can be a shelter for those who are weary, so I can speak hope into chaos, because I have lived it, because I have seen you hold me steady when I did not think I could survive the night. God, I know the enemy wants to use storms to shake my faith, to confuse me, to make me question your goodness. But I also know that you use the very same storms to deepen my roots, to purify my motives, to strip away what does not matter and strengthen what does. The storm does not destroy me, it refines me. And on the other side, I do not emerge weaker, I emerge wiser. More grounded, more aware of your presence than ever before. Let me become the kind of person who trusts your voice more than the volume of the wind. The kind of person who knows how to worship even when drenched in rain. The kind of person who does not lose their joy when peace is tested. Let me live as one who has weathered storms and knows that survival is not the goal, transformation is. Father, if this is a season of shaking, then shake what needs to fall. Let false security crumble. Let shallow faith be exposed. Let my dependency on anything less than you be uprooted. Not out of punishment, but out of mercy, so that what remains is solid, so that what remains is real. Let me hold firm to the people you have placed in my life, not with desperation, but with love. Let me become a voice of calm for others who are frightened. Let my testimony of peace become a beacon. Let my story be proof that storms come, but they do not have to win. That grief visits, but it does not define. That fear knocks, but it does not have to enter. God, let me not waste the storm. Let me not miss what you are doing in the middle of what I did not expect. Let me not rush through it so fast that I miss the growth, the clarity, the dependence, the intimacy. Let me not just pray for the storm to pass, but for your will to be done within it. If the storm teaches me to rely on you like never before, then even this has purpose. So I breathe deeply today, not because the winds have stopped, but because I know the one who holds the winds. I walk slowly not because the path is easy, but because you walk beside me. I speak hope not because I have avoided hardship, because I have survived with you. And I choose joy not as denial, but as defiance against despair. I choose to believe that even here, even now, you are at work, and that in the end, the storm will pass, but what you build in me will remain. That is the kind of steady I want to carry, not circumstantial, but eternal. Not momentary, but anchored, not fragile, but unshakable. Father, after learning how to stand steady in the storm, how to hold firm in the wind's uncertainty, and let my roots deepen in trials, I now sense something shifting in me again. This time, it is not about surviving or simply holding on. You are showing me that I was not made to live from scarcity. You are teaching me to live from overflow, not just barely enough, but more than enough, not just hanging on, but pouring out, not just surviving storms, but shining through them. And it begins not with doing more, but with staying filled by you. Lord, I have known seasons where I gave from an empty place, where I said yes out of fear, where I served from depletion and loved from exhaustion. I wore it as strength, but underneath was the quiet ache of a soul running dry. I thought it was noble to keep going when I had nothing left, but you have shown me that giving from emptiness does not bless anyone, not others, and not me. You do not ask me to burn out for you. You ask me to remain in you. Let me learn to live like someone who believes that your well never runs dry. You are not a scarce resource. You are not stingy with your presence. You do not just give drops of grace, you offer rivers. You do not ration joy, you pour it out freely. You do not hide peace behind performance, you release it in surrender. And if I stay close, I will never run dry. The lack I feel is not from your hand. It is from my wandering, my striving, my forgetting to come and sit again at your feet. God, help me return to you again and again, not out of duty, but out of hunger, not just when I feel weak, but even when I feel strong. Teach me to live with a full heart, a heart so steeped in your presence that it can't help but overflow into everything I touch, into my words, my work, my home, my relationships. Let people encounter you through my peace, through my joy, through the unforced rhythms of a life deeply connected to its source. Let overflow become the posture of my life, not the kind that comes from excess achievement, but from quiet communion. Let my cup overflow not because of what I accumulate, but because of how freely I receive. Let what spills from me be what you have first poured, in love that is patient, kindness that is genuine, compassion that costs something but never feels forced. I do not want to give what I do not have. I want to carry your spirit with integrity and joy. Father, remind me that to live from overflow means protecting the well, guarding the quiet, making space for stillness, saying no when I am tempted to overextend just to feel worthy, saying yes to rest, to prayer, to boundaries that honor what you are building in me. It means I can run on adrenaline. I can keep pretending that burnout is a badge of spiritual maturity. You are not glorified by my exhaustion. You are glorified by my fruit, and fruit only grows from roots that are nourished. Show me how to return to the places where you fill me. In worship, in your word, in solitude, in community that breathes life instead of draining it. Show me how to carry your presence into the mundane, so that even laundry and emails and errands become places of encounter. Show me how to listen for your whisper in the middle of my loud, busy world. Fill me in the cracks and corners I did not know were dry. Lord, let this overflow affect not just how I give, but how I receive. Teach me to receive love without suspicion, encouragement without deflection, grace without guilt. Teach me that it is not selfish to be filled, it is wise, because the most generous people I know are the ones who let you heal them first, the ones who no longer serve to prove something, but to share something. And I want to be like them, whole, available, overflowing. Let me stop confusing hustle for fruit. Let me no longer equate business with effectiveness. Let me remember that the people who followed Jesus closely were not always the loudest or most productive. They were the ones who sat at his feet, walked with him slowly, asked honest questions, and stayed close enough to be changed. Let that be the rhythm of my days, a life so filled with you that it spills light and hope everywhere I go. Father, I do not want to just give encouragement, I want to embody it. I do not want to just speak peace, I want to be it. I do not want to just say, I have joy, I want to carry it in a way that cannot be denied. And all of that starts with being filled first. Not once, but daily, not only in desperation, but as a rhythm. Fill me again today with wonder, with clarity, with strength that comes not from striving, but from simply being yours. Let me give generously without growing bitter. Let me love deeply without becoming drained. Let me work excellently without attaching my worth to outcomes. Let me rest confidently, knowing that seeds sown from overflow will bear fruit in time, and let that fruit nourish others. Let it remind them that there is more than enough in you. And when I am tempted to revert to live small, to hold back, to protect myself from the vulnerability of being poured out, remind me what you have already given. Remind me of the abundance I carry, not because of who I am, but because of who you are. You are not a God of barely enough. You are the God of abundance, of pressed down, shaken together, and running over. And if I live connected to you, then I too will live with more than enough. So I choose overflow today, not as a performance, but as a posture. I choose to let you fill every dry place until joy becomes natural again, until kindness flows easily again, until generosity feels like breathing. I choose to live not from fear or scarcity or duty, but from the deep, steady river of your spirit flowing through me. And I choose to pour it out freely, trusting you to fill me again tomorrow, and the next day, and every day after that. Father, as I continue living from the overflow of your presence, I now feel you calling me inward once again, not to give more, not to do more, but simply to be with you, to abide, to rest, to return to the very heartbeat that began all of this, because before the courage, before the calling, before the overflow, there was communion. There was the garden. There was you and me. No agenda. No striving. No stage. Just presence. Just love. Just breath. Lord, I forget sometimes that I was not created to perform for you. I was not made to spend myself dry and then run back only when I am desperate. I was not designed to visit you occasionally like a guest in someone else's house. You formed me to dwell, to stay, to walk with you through every hour, not just in the quiet morning, but in the chaos of the day, in the car rides, the grocery store, the unspoken questions, the holy ordinary. That is where communion lives, not just in the sacred, but in the simple. God, bring me back to that simplicity. Strip away the distractions that whisper, I must impress you to stay close. Quiet the noise that makes me think intimacy with you is reserved for the deeply spiritual or the exceptionally disciplined. Remind me again that you are not far, that I do not have to search for you like someone lost, that you are not a mystery to solve, but a presence to receive. You are not waiting at a distance. You are here. You have always been here. Teach me how to remain with you not as a moment, but as a lifestyle. Let my inner life grow thick with awareness of you. Let my spirit become so tuned to yours that I can sense the subtle shifts, the gentle nudges, the quiet invitations that say, "Stay a little longer." Help me see prayer not as a task, but as breathing. Worship not as a song, but as surrender. Obedience not as duty, but as delight. Let communion be the thread that ties my entire day together. Father, you are not impressed by my business. You are not drawn to my performance. You do not ask for polish, you ask for presence. You ask for the real me, not the version I think you want. And when I come empty, you do not recoil. You receive. When I come distracted, you do not condemn. You gently draw me back. You are not like the world, expecting me to earn my place. I already have a seat at the table, because I am yours. So let me live like someone who knows I am welcome. Let me speak to you like a child who is confident in their father's love. Let me walk through my day carrying not just your truth, but your nearness. Let my every move be shaped by your closeness. Let it be the anchor in uncertainty, the compass when I am lost, the light when I forget where I am going. Because more than answers, I need presence. More than direction, I need connection. I need you. And when I drift, when I wander, even when I chase good things, but forget the best thing, call me back. Not with a shout, but with that whisper I am learning to recognize. That whisper that says, you do not need to do more. You just need to come home. Let me come running, not because I am afraid you have left, but because I know you never moved. You stayed, always patient, steady, waiting not with disappointment, but with love. Let this communion change how I see everything else. Let it shift how I love people, not from obligation, but from overflow. Let it inform how I work, not for approval, but from assurance. Let it guide how I listen, how I speak, how I forgive, how I rest. Because when I abide in you, everything else finds its rhythm. My thoughts slow down, my heart opens up, my fears lose volume, and peace rises again like a quiet tide. Lord, let me fall in love with stillness again. In a world that equates value with output, let me become fluent in lingering. Let me grow comfortable in the silence between your words. Let me stop rushing through sacred moments. Let me remember that I do not come to you just for wisdom, or answers, or solutions. I come because you are the one I love, and that is reason enough. There is a kind of strength that comes not from running ahead, but from staying close. And I want that strength, the kind that does not flinch at uncertainty, because it walks with the one who sees all. The kind that does not grasp for control because it rests in surrender. The kind that does not fear being unseen because it knows it is fully known. That is the life I want, a life shaped not by how much I do, but by how deeply I dwell. God, this is the rhythm I want to carry into every season, not visit and vanish, but remain, not chase you like a distant dream, but walk with you like a trusted friend. Let every act of love be birthed from intimacy. Let every step forward be grounded in stillness. Let every yes be spoken not from pressure, but from the quiet conviction that I have been with you, and that is enough. So today, I return again not to start over, but to remember. I remember that I am never alone, that I do not have to strive to earn connection, that your spirit already lives in me, that I am not just called to do for you, but to be with you. And in that being, in that breathing, in that holy quiet, I rediscover everything I have been looking for. You are here. You have always been here. And here I will stay, God. After learning to abide with you in sacred closeness, after remembering that I was made for communion and not just contribution, something inside me has settled into stillness. I feel safe here, near your heart. I feel nourished, seen, restored. But now, from that place of rest, I hear your gentle invitation. Shine, not to strive, not to perform, but to reflect what I have received. You are reminding me that intimacy with you is not an end. It is the beginning, the root, the fountain, and from that overflow, I am called to be a light in the world. Father, you do not ask me to create light. I am not its source. You simply ask me to reflect what you already are. You are light, and in you there is no darkness at all. So as I walk with you, dwell with you, become more like you, I carry that light into places that desperately need it. Not because I am special or superior, but because I have been with you. And that is what makes the difference. Not charisma, but character. Not applause, but authenticity. Not noise, but presence. Teach me, Lord, how to shine in a world that often celebrates shadows, not with arrogance, but with quiet consistency, not trying to be the loudest voice in the room, but the clearest example of grace. Let the way I live speak louder than the words I say. Let kindness be my signature. Let peace be my atmosphere. Let hope be my legacy. Let truth be my compass. Let love true, unshakable, sacrificial love be what marks me. Help me understand that to be light does not mean to be perfect. It means to be present. It means to be honest. It means to be whole enough to admit when I am broken, to walk humbly, to forgive quickly, to see others not as problems, but as people. To love even when it is uncomfortable, to stay when others walk away, to bring warmth to cold places and clarity where confusion lingers. That is the kind of light the world is desperate for, the kind that reflects you, God. I know that darkness is loud right now. It is easy to look at the world and feel overwhelmed, to feel like one person can make a dent. But you have never asked me to change the whole world. You have asked me to shine where I am, in my home, in my work, in my circle, in my conversations, in the small decisions no one sees, in the choices that may not go viral, but go deep. That is where light multiplies. That is where your kingdom grows quietly, steadily, beautifully. Let me stop waiting for the perfect moment to live boldly. Let me stop waiting to feel ready. Let me live today like someone who knows you walk beside me. Let me remember that the smallest flame still overcomes the deepest darkness, that love spoken in weakness still carries power, that one honest prayer can shift the atmosphere of a room, that the way I listen, serve, or even simply smile can create space for healing in someone else's life. Father, make me aware of the moments where I can bring light moments I might otherwise miss. When someone needs to be seen, when someone needs to be believed in, when someone needs truth spoken in love, when silence is safer, but speaking is necessary, when the easy path leads to compromise, but the narrow road leads to integrity. Let me choose the way of light. Let me choose the way of Christ. Let me shine in conflict, not by overpowering, but by bringing peace. Let me shine in scarcity, not by hoarding, but by sharing. Let me shine in grief, not by pretending it does not hurt, but by holding hope in the midst of pain. Let me shine in celebration, not by taking the spotlight, but by pointing to the one who gives every good gift. Let my light be real. Let it be consistent. Let it be honest. God, remind me that the light carry is not just for the mountaintops. It is for the valleys, the hidden places, the dark alleys of human experience where so many have forgotten what hope feels like. And you are sending me not because I am enough on my own, but because you are enough in me. I do not have to be loud to be light. I do not have to be seen by many to shine with purpose. I only have to be faithful, to stay connected, to keep showing up with your spirit flowing through me. When I feel weary, when the world feels heavy, when my light feels dim, lead me back to you. You are the fire. You are the flame. You are the source. My job is not to ignite. My job is to remain. And from that abiding, light will shine without force, without fear, without fabrication. It will be real. It will be steady. It will be enough. So today, I step out not to impress or convert or conquer, but to reflect, to carry what I have been given, to embody what I have experienced, to live a life so rooted in you, people do not just notice me, they encounter you. Let my life be a lamp that makes space for others to see clearly. Let my choices illuminate something higher. Let my relationships glow with grace. Let my presence be a safe harbor for those lost in fog. This is the light you have called me to be, not flashy, but faithful, not temporary, but timeless, not artificial, but alive. And I carry it not because I have earned it, but because I have been in the presence of the light of the world. And now, wherever I go, I will carry you, quietly, boldly, unapologetically, not for glory, but for love, not for power, but for peace, not for recognition, but for redemption. Let me shine, Lord, not so others see me, but so they see you in me. And let that be enough. Lord, as this morning prayer draws near its end, I feel the quiet settling around me, like a blanket, the kind of stillness that only comes when something deep has shifted. Something surrendered. Something received. over these past mornings. You have peeled away the noise. You have steadied the ground beneath my trembling thoughts. You have lifted my eyes not just to see what is ahead, but to notice who walks beside me. And in this final moment, I am not looking for a dramatic closing or a loud declaration. I am simply opening my hands again, ready to walk forward with what you have written gently on my soul. Father, you have carried me through despair into hope, through striving into surrender, through fear into courage, through self-doubt into quiet confidence, and not by changing everything around me, but by changing the atmosphere within me. You have taught me to breathe again, to listen, to choose stillness when rushing feels safer, to return not because I have all the answers, but because you are the answer. You have reminded me that I am not weak for needing you. I am whole because I am learning to remain with you. Every word I have prayed, every pause I have embraced, every tear that may have fallen, you have held it all. And now, what once felt like fragments has become something formed. Not finished, but formed, shaped by trust, anchored in your voice, lit by grace. I can feel it even now, how different this morning feels compared to the ones before. Not because the world outside me has shifted, but because I have softened, I have strengthened, I have returned. God, I know this prayer does not end here, not really. It continues in the quiet conversations throughout the day, in the silent pleadings, in the sudden thank yous, in the whispered reminders that I am not walking alone, that this breath is holy, that this moment matters, that the sacred is not somewhere far away, it is here, in the coffee cup, the commute, the decision I am about to make, the text I need to send, the wound I need to forgive, the joy I must not overlook. You are in all of it. So as I rise from this place of reflection, let everything I have received become something I carry, not as weight, but as witness. Let it show up in my tone, my patience, my resilience, my laughter, my rest. Let it become woven into who I am, not just what I believe. Let me live this prayer, not just speak it. Let it become a rhythm in my walk, a melody beneath my words, a fragrance in every room I enter. And when life tries to rush me back into chaos, when stress tries to pull me from this stillness, let this moment echo back louder than the noise. Let the truth I have prayed carry me when I am tempted to forget. Let your voice remain louder than mine. Let your spirit guide even when clarity fades. Let your promises rise again in my memory like sunlight through morning clouds. Not because I will always feel strong, but because grace has always been enough. Lord, thank you for staying close, for being the one who never turns away, for reminding me that my value is not found in what I build or fix or produce, but in who I belong to. Thank you for being my steady when I have been uncertain, my stillness when the world spins fast, my healing when I have grown numb, my joy when I thought I lost the ability to laugh, my home when I felt like I did not belong anywhere. You have been everything and somehow still more. And now, as I move forward into whatever this day will bring, I go not as someone who is trying to keep it all together. I go as someone who knows she is held. He is seen. They are known. I go lighter, braver, more aware, not because I have figured it all out, but because I am no longer walking through this alone. I go full not with answers, but with presence. Your presence. That is what makes the difference. To the one who has walked with me through every chapter, every word, every morning, thank you. Thank you for staying, for listening, for praying, for not rushing past your own heart, for sitting with God in the mess and the beauty of your story. You have made space for transformation. You have honored the sacred by simply showing up. That matters more than you know. If this prayer has met you in the silence, I invite you to let it keep living in your life. Share what it stirred in you. Speak your own prayer. Drop your thoughts, your testimony, your hope below. Someone else might need the very light you carry. And if this has given you even a glimpse of peace, if you have felt seen, held, or simply reminded of what has always been true, do not keep it to yourself. Share it, pass it on. Let others walk with us. Let this be more than just one voice. It can become a chorus of trust, a movement of hope. Subscribe to this channel if you have not already. There is more coming. More mornings. More stillness. More truth. And we need each other now more than ever. Let us stay grounded together. Let us keep choosing prayer over panic, peace over pressure, presence over performance. Share this video with someone who is walking through a dark season, or someone who simply needs a reminder that God is near. Leave a comment with your own story or a simple sentence that brought you peace. And above all, keep showing up for your soul. Keep making space for sacred moments. Because the world does not need more noise. It needs more light. It needs more you. Not the version trying to prove something. The real you. Rooted. Gentle. Brave. Becoming. And just like that, the morning unfolds. Quietly. Gently. The first light spills across the floor. A breeze moves through the trees. And somewhere deep in your chest, you remember you are not starting this day alone. You are already carried. You are already held. And the light is already rising.